Unlike the last manhwa that was way more chill, this one kicks the door right open with an all-minus-out slugfest. So, the lore goes like this: 1,000 years ago, beasts from the black abyss sprouted up on Earth. But then, out of nowhere, these giant monuments popped up, giving humanity a light at the end of the tunnel. From that point on, people started getting class powers from these monuments and jumped into a deadly throwdown against the beasts. After a whole lot of grinding and suffering, they finally managed to kick the beasts back into the hole they crawled out of, protecting their territory in what was a true miracle. With a moment of peace, the kingdom of Ryuowen built capitals around the 9 monuments, and every year, there's a class tournament to decide which students are badass enough to face the abyss. But of course, those darn beasts are still plotting in the shadows, so the world still depends on the strength of these kids to finish them off for good. And it's in that spirit that we arrive at class selection day, and that monument right there is the one in the city of Linchen. The principal gives the students the rundown, letting them know the class tournament is about to begin. Whether it's a combat or a support class, what matters is strengthening the country, because the nation's future is on their shoulders. That kid with the face of a hardened criminal is already hyped up, saying that after 18 years of intense studying, it's finally time to awaken. The thing is, becoming a simple warrior, which you'd think would be the basic starter class, is anything but easy. The success rate for combat classes at the school is a measly 50%. Looking to the side, they see Lincheon, also known as Airhead. The general bet is that if this kid awakens anything at all, it'll be a support class, and that's a big if. With that dead minus fish staring into face that just screams, "I've already given up on life." There's no doubt about it, folks. This is our MC. And you guessed it, the poor guy is so unlucky he ranked dead last in class too, but at least he's stoked to finally awaken in this new world. The comic minus looking guy comes over to mess with him and asks what class he wants to get. Our dreamy MC says he wants an S- rank talent or secret class. Obviously, everyone just bursts out laughing. For a failure like him, the dude is totally tripping. The MC knows that if it's all up to the system's evaluation, his life is pretty much programmed for total failure mode. But hey, who says an underdog can't have his day, right? So, MC, let me give it to you straight. Just between us, literally no one has ever said that. But hey, if you want to light a candle and pray for a boost, that's on you, my dude. He clings to the idea that if the miracle of coming to this world already happened, why can't another one happen and get him a top -tier class? Back at the ceremony, the principal calls a class to from Lin Yancheng's first high school, and the first one to step onto the stage is Wang Dong. The jerk is all confident and even throws a look back, just to be provocative. Apparently, he's got some personal beef with our MC. The teacher explains that the awakening takes about 5 seconds and that feeling some discomfort is totally normal, just gotta hang in there. And the class reveal begins. Yeah, the bright light is a bit much, but other than that, everything's cool. The system announces warrior class unlocked. However, the talent is only a C- rank. The teacher tells him not to get discouraged, that for a civilian, a C- rank talent is already above average. Now he should head straight to the Lin Yancheng Guild, and they'll give him his instructions there. This guy is seriously lucky. He barely awakened and he's already got a fan club. And what a fan club it is. And his fans are already saying he must have been born under a lucky star to be this fortunate. Accidentally on purpose, the loser bumps into the MC, saying he didn't see the dead weight in his way. Total lie. He's always picking on our boy. Imagine what he'll be like now with a warrior class. His old crew surrounds the MC, asking why he bumped into their champion, but Wang Dong tells them to back off, saying he's in a good mood today. The MC is furious. If a piece of trash like that became a warrior, what is he gonna get? The bullies walk away, but not before tossing a few insults at our boy. The teacher announces the next one, Lin Chenhao. Yep, it's our MC's turn. He raises his hand to confirm he's present, and then he heads up to the stage. For him, any class will do. Warrior would be perfect, but even a major support would be great. The important thing is not to walk out of here a total failure. The kid places his hand on the monument, and the thing starts reacting in a super weird way. It's definitely not supposed to be giving off this much light. The poor MC even gets his hopes up, thinking his time to shine has finally come. The light is so intense that even the teacher's jaw drops. But then, out of nowhere, it all stops. She congratulates him and tells him to prepare himself emotionally. The class he awakened was Summoner. The entire crowd starts cracking up. All that light show just to get the most useless class in the game, the one that's only good for taking up space. But that's when our friendly neighborhood system makes its appearance. Host detected, binding complete. Title Lord of the Abyss. And as a bonus, a random SSS- talent. The system also informs him that every 10 levels, a new SSS- rank ability will be unlocked. Our boy can hardly believe it. He started with an SSS- rank ability right off the bat. If he gets an SSS ability every 10 levels, at level 100, he'll have T and SSS- rank abilities. Man, I'm telling you, I'm already getting tired just from saying SSS. The teacher hands him some kind of registration ticket, but he's not even paying attention. He's more focused on the system. The system announces he's obtained the SS talent demonic sacrifice. Basically, he can permanently sacrifice a portion of his life to level up one of his summons, and know that life doesn't come back. This whole losing max HP for everything doesn't exactly sit well with the MC. The price is high, but on second thought, as a summoner, he doesn't even need to be on the front lines. As long as his summon is a walking tank, he's all good. He just needs to focus on gear that increases his max health. The system even gives him a tip: for every 100 health points sacrificed, the summon goes up 1 level. Looking at his stats, the MC sees he has 1000 health. If he sacrifices 900 and keeps 100, his summon will jump straight to level 9. But while there, he stops himself from getting carried away. This ability needs to be used with caution. Back to the teacher, she tells him not to be disheartened, that life has other paths. Our boy thanks her and tells her not to worry, because he's still going to make his mark on this world. Yeah, but the NPCs over there aren't buying it. For them, MC better start thinking about a plan B. The MC knows that the summoner class is basically like playing life on hard mode. But his is a summoner plus ultra master blaster, the GOAT, the man Pikachu on steroids. So he's golden. A few hours later, we're at Lin's house. His sister greets him and asks how it went, if he got a good class. The MC replies that he became a summoner. His beautiful sister asks if that isn't the class everyone considers trash. And hey, MC, you're not in the market for a brother minus and minus law, are you? Grabbing a towel, the MC confirms that's the one. His sister tells him to relax. Next year it's her turn, and she guarantees she'll become a powerful mage to protect him. And if he's worried, I can protect her. In this scene right here, I'm not sure if the MC was embarrassed by his sister saying she'd protect him, or if it's because the little rascal took a peek downwards. Well, Lin says he doesn't need protection and tells the girl to go get dressed. Yeah, that's probably for the best. She complains that he treats her like a kid, but the MC just tells her to go play, saying he needs to be alone for a bit. Oh, you're gonna be alone with your phone in your hand, are you? You sly dog. I'll say no more. Looking at his phone, he sees a message about a meeting. He has no idea what it's about, but just in case, it's better to go see what this meeting is than to show up late. Back in the classroom, the teacher comments that this year's results were grade 5 warriors, 8 mages, 11 supports, and, of course, 1 summoner. Wang Dong cracks some joke, but honestly, the dude's mug doesn't look like a student's. At the very least, he's a family man with 5 kids and 3 overdue child support payments. The teacher says that Lin's case is special and hands him a beginner's guide, hoping it'll help somehow. Taking the book, the MC thanks him, and the teacher offers to help if he needs anything. Except our boy is not at all happy with how thick the book is. Being a summoner in this world really isn't for everyone. The teacher explains he called everyone back because the school is going to collect data. All the awakening classes are present, so he asks class to not to embarrass him. Now, outside, another teacher announces the start of the aptitude test. A student who looks like a mage says he'll go first. The kid does well, launching a pretty strong ice power. The teacher praises him, saying that a score of 70-3 indicates a decent talent. Another student comes up, this time with a sword, and we see it's the Dang family man. His score was 80-9. The teacher is impressed, says it's an extremely high score and that he's probably the best of this year's class. The next one to be called is Lin. He's going to try using a basic summoning spell from the book the teacher gave him, but since he hasn't practiced at all, he's gonna have to rely on luck. He starts chanting the magic words. And man, a huge gust of wind kicks up out of nowhere. A gust of wind like that is always dangerous for girls in skirts. The teacher wonders if Lin actually managed to summon something. And, suddenly, he summons a slime. Are you serious, MC? A slime? After all that wind, I was actually starting to believe in you. If I were in his class, I'd be laughing too. He made a huge freaking scene just to summon a glob of jelly. I'll only cut him some slack because the MC was also pretty bummed about the result. The summon is a level 1 beginner slime with an attack power of just 9. The problem is a 9- point attack is the same as tickling someone. The teacher tells everyone to shut up and says it's time to test the score. The scoreboard spins and spins, making a big scene. But we already know the result: 9 points. No one can believe such a ridiculous score. While the class laughs, the teacher tries to console him, saying that 9 is still a score and that he shouldn't get discouraged. Our boy asks to try again, and the teacher allows it. That's it, kid. Let's go. This time it'll work out. I'm with you, man. This time, instead of just summoning, he's going to use his sacrifice ability. Since it's his first time, he's only going to spend 200 health just to get a little taste. No one has any faith in him, but this time, I believe in the kid. The system announces that his max HP has dropped from 1,800. The good news is that the slime is starting to transform, and by the looks of it, something good is about to come out of this. The class is already starting to be blown away. And believe it or not, so is the MC. The slime has become a level 3 demonized slime. The MC orders the slime to attack the target. Obeying its master, it gets some distance, and launches itself forward with all its might. Its core is a direct hit right in the middle of the target, and this time it scores 120 points. No one can believe it, not even the teacher. By the way, when did this teacher in white show up? Wasn't it the one in the dark clothes? Well, the family man can't believe it either. How did a loser like the MC manage to score 120 points? Even Feng Sheng might as well. The school's god of war only scored 101 points at the start of his career. So he yells that the MC must have cheated. There's no other explanation. The kid's a cheater. The MC tries to defend himself, saying he didn't do anything. He just used his ability on the slime. The teacher agrees that the students have a point. As the teacher approaches, the MC insists he didn't cheat. The teacher just ignores him and goes straight to the machine. Looking closely, you can see that the machine is now broken. The teacher stops, thinks for a bit, and finally comes to a conclusion. He tells everyone the machine was busted and that Li Yanhao didn't cheat. And yes, folks, the kid's name is Li Yan minus HAL. Turns out the translation team dropped the H and have been reading it wrong this whole time. My bad, guys. They really threw a wrench in my narration. The father of 5 says it had to be it. Of course the machine broke. How could that loser score so many points? With that, they conclude that the MC's score must be 9, since that's what he got before. I have a feeling this initial score is super important, like, it defines the start of your career, and that's why they want the MC to get screwed with 9 points. But the teacher announces that, due to the machine's malfunction, Tianhao's result has been voided. He will have to retake the test. The MC wasn't expecting that. The teacher is really going to give him another chance. This is great, but the rest of the students are not happy at all. The teacher just tells everyone to shut it, that he's the one in charge here. Since the machine broke, today's tests are over and won't resume until it's fixed. Some random MPs he still tried to complain, but one glare from the family man was enough to shut him up real quick. Turning to the MC, he says the new test won't change anything. Trash will always be trash, and a farmed chicken will never become a phoenix. With that said, he calls his buddies to go farm in the level 1 Black Abyss, saying it's better than wasting time with a loser. The MC thinks about this level 1 Black Abyss and remembers it's a dungeon for beginners. A perfect place to test his new demonic slime. The maintenance crew finally arrives to fix the machine and can't believe the damage was done by a rookie. With that kind of power, could the school have a new genius on its hands? Speaking of geniuses, a scene cuts back to our boy. An old man approaches him, saying he looks like a good candidate to become a summoner. The MC thinks that lying is starting to become a daily routine. The old guy offers him a top minus of minus the minus lying summoner's staff for just 300 gold coins. So, you interested? Of course, the MC is shocked by the price. 300 gold for a twig? That's highway robbery. The old man tells him not to talk like that he's only selling it for 300 because he felt a fateful connection with him. For anyone else, it would be 1,000. Looking at the twig, the MC feels like there's actually some power leaking from it. That can't be a common item. That being the case, he decides to take the staff. He justifies it to himself by thinking that since his class is trash, he's unlikely to join a guild, so he'll have to buy his own equipment. The old man says alright, that'll be just 300 bucks. Looking at his wallet, the MC realizes he only has 90 minus to gold. He asks if the old man can give him a little discount. Taking the money, the old man says he'll accept it as a down payment. The 90 minus to gold only guarantees he won't sell the staff to someone else. If the MC really wants the item, he'll have to go to the deepest part of the level 1 Black Abyss and bring back a treasure for the old man. Then the staff is his. Piece of cake, right? The MC wonders if it's too late to back out. The old sensei just replies that he'll understand when he gets there, as he holds up a piece of paper. Apparently, he wants the MC's fingerprint to seal a contract. Our boy tries to argue that it feels like a forced deal, but the old man has already stamped his thumb on the paper. Too late. With the contract sealed, he tells the MC to get a move on. Go, and come back quick. That's when someone finally calls out to the old man. The sly dog's name is Elder Fang. The teacher asks what he's doing here. The testing machine broke, so that's it for today. But Elder Fang is more interested in knowing if the teacher knows that student. The teacher confirms that he does. His name is Chun Hao from his class, but he awakened as a summoner, so his path is going to be a tough one. The elder agrees indeed. His path from now on will be very, very difficult. And now, at the entrance of the level 1 Black Abyss, we see that our MC has. Looking at the dungeon rules, he realizes you can only enter with a party of at least 3 people. Going solo is not an option. But taking a look at the Abyss clearing rankings, he sees that first place belongs to some guy named Feng Shen. If this guy stays in first until the end of the month, he'll get a sweet reward. This time, for example, the prize is a beginner's chest plate. It might not seem like much, but it's something 20% magic resistance, plus 120 HP, and plus 30% armor. When you have nothing, anything helps. That business about 120 extra HP points catches the MC's attention. To him, that's really good and worth competing for. But that's when someone starts making fun of him for his 9- point score on the test. The MC realizes it's them again. We see the three stooges weighing dong, the family man, the chubby one in the middle, who is cutting the other one on the side, Navara. Trying to cut the crap, the MC tells them to mind their own business. But the family man scoffs, saying he'll need a party of 3 to get in. Who do you think is gonna accept you? Just to mess with him, he shouts that his group has a C- rank warrior into E- rank mages, and asks if anyone wants to join. Of course, upon hearing C- rank warrior, the crowd goes wild. Everyone rushes him, asking if there's still a spot open. The family man picks 2 random people from the crowd, and with a group of 5, they head into the dungeon. But one of the newbies gets worried, afraid he won't be able to keep up and will end up slowing the group down in the rankings. But that's when something is spat out of the dungeon, several bodies. We see that they're human corpses. Of course, this spooks the 2 NPCs right away. Navara tells them to stay close, because anyone who falls behind ends up like that. But without further ado, they finally enter the dungeon. Our boy already knows this isn't going to end well. The 3 stooges are up to no good, and those 2 rookies probably won't survive in there. You can get revived after dying, but it costs a ton of money. Putting that aside, the MC decides to display his status panel up high, hoping to find a group. One of the guys nearby is impressed to see the SSS-Rank talent, but the more experienced folks aren't fooled. After all, he's a summoner. No one wants to party up with him. Looking into the middle of the crowd, he sees a strong and beautiful girl. It's Lizu, a bard. The problem is her talent is E- rank. If it were at least D- rank, her buffs would be excellent, but unfortunately, that's not the case. Judging by her tired expression, she's probably been waiting here for days. So, our boy approaches and asks if she wants to form a team. The girl recognizes him instantly. You're the summoner with the SSS-Rank talent. Our boy says he wants to compete in the rankings, but no one wants to team up with him. So, is she in? Blushing and embarrassed, she accepts immediately. The system announces that the team has been successfully formed. The MC says that inside, he'll focus on taking out the monsters, so she just needs to worry about her own safety. The girl gets all flustered, thinking, is he worried about me? Alright, enough dawdling. The MC still needs one more person. That's when we start hearing the crowd chanting Goddess Sue. Goddess Sue. Who is this so minus called Goddess Sue? We find out it's Sue King. Druid class, A- rank talent. Everyone is begging her to join their team. From a distance, the MC recognizes her as the campus beauty, Sue King. As she walks by, she also identifies him as the last -placed student in their class, that summer guy. Getting right up in his face and staring him down, she wonders if it's worth joining a summoner, such a low tier class. And then, with all the swagger she can muster, she orders, put me in your group. Yep, she didn't ask, she demanded. Nobody gets it. Why does the school goddess want to team up with this loser of all people? Of course, the MC can't exactly refuse, can he? She commanded him, and I don't blame him. It's a pretty sweet deal. The NPCs are crying, saying their goddess has been stolen by a pig. But she tells everyone to shut up, says she's already chosen a team in for them to get lost. Calling her new squad, she says they should head into the abyss. But the MC asks her to wait and questions why she was so eager to join their team. The girl says she's aiming for the top of the rankings, and to do that, she needs to dead weights. If she can carry a trash team like there's the first place, no one will dare look down on her ever again. Okay, she explained her reason, but did she have to rub it in their faces that they're trash? Where's the empathy, girl? Not that they aren't, you know, but come on, take it easy. No need to rub it in. Lizu asks if they're going in with just the 3 of them. If something dangerous happens in there, they're definitely screwed. But enough talk. They're already inside the dungeon, and the place lives up to its name, Abyss of the Frozen Valley, because it is freezing as all hell. What were they expecting? A beach in Kanken. And the other girl shows up in a crop top and shorts. That's not helping, honey. The MC complains that his cold protection gear isn't cutting it. The bard says she has an idea. She starts conjuring an aura of cold resistance. The level is low, but it helps a lot. In seconds, the group's situation improves drastically. Our boy takes the lead and says that if they're aiming for the top, they need to be fast. But that's when, right up ahead, 2 pairs of red eyes appear. Whose could they be, I wonder? I thought the MC was going to chicken out, but from the look on his face, he's ready for a fight. It's a corrupted stray wolf. Sue King says it's just a low- level wolf. Showed up at the perfect time for me to practice. Sue King activates her beast form Spirit Cat. The MC is surprised she can transform into a demi- human. The system told us she was a druid, but it forgot to tell our boy. But anyway, Sue King immediately lunges forward. And in just a few moves, she annihilates the monster. That was faster than I thought. Our boy notices that her attacks cause bleeding, which deals damage over time. The wolf's hidden fangs are dropped. Sue King says they can have the items as payment for the cold resistance buff. She doesn't like to owe favors. Lizu says she didn't have to be so formal, but thanks her. Putting the chit minus chat aside, Sue King says they need to keep moving. There's a long way to go. Sometime later, 3 more little wolves appear, but Sue King doesn't waste any time and lunges at them again. In just a few moves, she takes down 3 more. but dealing with 3 at once is tough. But there's no other way if she wants the top of the rankings. This is the pace. Lizu notices she got hurt and offers a heal, but Su-King refuses, saying her magic is to low minus level and barely restores any health. Better to save your mana. With that, she pulls out a small vial. Of course, it's a healing potion. Seeing that she couldn't help, Lizu feels a little sad, but what can you do? She wasn't going to be much help anyway. Continuing on their path, after taking out a few more monsters, Su-King steps on a magic circle. I don't even need to tell you this is gonna go bad, do I? Here comes a giant log flying right at her. By a very, very narrow margin, she manages to escape. Except it wasn't just the log. Along with it comes a corrupted walking zombie. The log was actually its sledgehammer. Unlike the wolf, which was a normal monster, this zombie is elite minus level, and on top of that, it's level 4. Lizu asks the MC why this creature appeared. He deduces that after they took out so many wolves, the big guy got annoyed. And speaking of the beast, here it comes, charging right at Su-King. The attack is so fast it catches her by surprise, and with that hit, the creature sends her flying. From here on out, it's game over for Su-King. Lizu asks what they're going to do now that they need to help the girl, and fast, because the creature is already preparing for another attack. With his hero pose, our boy summons his secret weapon. All that smoke and haze again. And our beloved demonic slime appears. And you know what? I like this slime. I think he's pretty cool. The MC tells it to use the Demon's Dance ability. In just a few steps, it gets in front of the creature. But it might be too late. The monster has already managed to attack. The question is, did it hit Su-King or not? Lifting its sledgehammer, the monster realizes it missed. The little slime had already grabbed the girl just in time and brought her safely to her friends. The MC tells Lizu to get Su-King out of there. While she heals her, he'll take care of that walking corpse. Speaking of the corpse, here comes a monster towards the group. This time, Tianhao tells the slime to use the sticky spit ability. Instantly, the little creature leaps onto the monster, so fast that it's already on top of it. That's when it starts releasing pieces of itself. Could this be the so-minus called sticky spit? Well, next it starts firing these small parts at the monster. The problem is, this spit is corrosive. To avoid the monster's blow, the slime uses the Demon's Dance to dodge. The MC realizes the monster's defense is too high, causing only 50% of the damage. He needs to find another way. Remembering the previous attack, he notices that at least the spit can melt the monster's armor. Yeah, and see, cool that you've already thought of something. But hurry up, because here comes the beast. Let's go, my man. Are you still thinking? He tells the slime to use the Demon's Dance to get behind the monster. From there, the slime should use its corrosive spit directly on its ankle. Without wasting any time, the slime starts shooting right at the zombie's Achilles heel. Judging by the monster's pained expression, I think it worked. Yep, it worked. The beast is on the ground. Hold on, what is that fool doing so close? Didn't the MC tell her to fall back? Is her idea of falling back taking the steps backward? But at least the healing is working, and Su-King finally starts to wake up. She can see that the MC is actually pretty strong. Our boy realizes that the monster's upper body defense is stronger than its lower body. Therefore, he tells the slime to focus its attacks only on the lower part. And there goes the slime again with its corrosive spit. Except this time it doesn't hold back. The monster is almost completely covered. As a last resort, the creature even tries to throw its sledgehammer, but that doesn't work either. The system announces that he has defeated the zombie, gaining 120 XP, the creature's hammer, 10 wolf hides, and 10 fangs. Not to mention, he also leveled up to level 2. All that for defeating a single higher minus level enemy. Imagine farming like this all day. The girls are impressed. The MC is really strong. Su-King never imagined a summoner could be so powerful. To take down an elite monster by herself, you can't be just anyone. Okay, the MC is getting strong, but it's not that big of a deal, right? Approaching quickly, our hero asks if Su-King is okay. Embarrassed, she says it was just minor injuries and that he doesn't need to worry. Lizu says her healing spell is slow and that they need to rest for a bit. But Su-King says no way. They're competing for first place. They can't stop to rest. Trying to stand up, she even insists she can keep fighting. However, with those chicken legs, I don't think she can stay on her feet for long. Holding the girl steady, the MC asks how she's going to compete for the top spot if she's dead. Since it was our boy who said it, her expression changes instantly. She agrees he's right and that it's better to rest. The MC says there's surely a cave nearby where they can spend the night. And now, in the blessed cave, the MC says the two of them can rest. He'll take the first watch. Lizu says she's exhausted as using so much magic has left her drained. The next second, she's out like a light. That's that 9 minus to -5 worker sleep. The second you lean against something, you're out. Tianhao tells Su-King to rest too, that he's going to check things out outside. She asks him to wait a moment, as she needs to thank him for saving her life. The MC gives her a suspicious look, and she asks what the problem is. I don't like owing favors. Turning away, she tells him to forget it and that she'd better go to sleep. As he leaves, the MC thinks that this crazy lady has a sharp tongue. But deep down, she's an honest person. Now outside, the MC comments that he's gone up 3 levels. Yep, before the system said 2, but now it's saying 3. Who am I to question it? And sure enough, if we look at the stats, the mad lad is at level 3. His health went from 800 to 1200 and his attack from 12 to 40. Plus, he can now have one more summon. With the extra 400 health, he can level up the slime for more times. Without wasting a moment, he makes the sacrifice. And now our little slime is at level 7, with its damage climbing from 120 to 140. As a bonus, he even got a new ability, something called Rupture. The MC tells the slime they're going to test this new ability. Instantly, the demonic slime shoots forward. Then, the MC gives the command Activate Rupture ability, and the slime just starts splitting. Is this for real? Are we getting to little slimes? Looks like it. The attack power is the same, but the health, agility, and defense have been cut in half. But how long does this ability last? The system informs us it only lasts for 3 short minutes. This makes the MC a bit ticked off. 3 minutes? What can you even do with that? Well, it depends. For a lot of people, 3 minutes is an eternity. Cutting the nonsense, the MC hears a scream coming from a cave. Turning around, he wonders what happened. Weren't those pests asleep? Well, better run and see what went down, right? What if it's something dangerous? Arriving there, he comes face to face with a giant monster. He tells the slime to use its sticky and also corrosive spit. Following the order, the creature shoots, but it only deals 20-5 damage. Our boy is totally bugging out. What do you mean only that much damage? The reason is that this is a giant snow rabbit, a level 8 creature. The girls know they don't stand a chance. It's a 6- level difference. Plus, the creature's appearance is terrifying. But regardless, it's about to go down. The creature doesn't give a damn. Su-King yells Fortune how to be careful, but I don't know if that's going to help. There's no amount of caution in the world that's going to protect him from that beast. Anyway, the slime starts firing off multiple projectiles. 20-5 by 20-5, eventually the damage adds up. This creature probably doesn't have that much health anyway. The problem is, it's smart as hell. With just a few flips, it dodged everything. And now it's on top of the slime. With a huge kick, it sends the slime flying. And it doesn't stop there, because it's already on top of it again. And it lands another punch right in the middle of the slime. My friend, from here on out, it's a total beatdown. The slime just takes hits and the rabbit just dishes them out. The MC tells the slime to retreat using its sticky spit. It starts running, leaving a trail of goo in its path. But the rabbit isn't dumb and simply sidesteps the trail. Lizu despairs. What the heck is this thing? Why is it so fast? Su-King explains that it's one of the most complicated monsters in the valley, and that many have died to it. The strange thing is they didn't even go near the creature's territory. Why did it attack them? Lizu says the slime can't stop taking a beating and asks if they shouldn't do something. The MC doesn't answer. He's more focused on the system message. Yep, folks, this is bad. Demon's dance is on cooldown. He's gonna have to wait a bit to use it again. The MC tells the slime to fall back. But how are you supposed to fall back with a psycho rabbit beating the crap out of you? You can't, my friend. You just can't. Out of nowhere, Lizu decides she's going to help and runs towards the danger. I just want to know how. The poor girl throws a rock and shouts, calling the rabbit. But, I don't think that was a good idea. What's a little rock going to do against a rabbit like that? No use panicking now. You called it, you threw the rock, now you deal with the consequences. Weren't you the one calling for it? Well then. As a last resort, the girl starts rummaging through her bag and pulls out a carrot. The strategy is clever, but I don't think it's going to work. I take it back, it worked. The rabbit calmed down instantly. They can't even believe that. This whole time, the rabbit's only problem was hunger. So, you got any more carrots in there? You better? Apparently she does. Lizu starts running, saying the rabbit is coming after her, but at least she has plenty of carrots. Of course, the MC knows that sooner or later, those carrots are going to run out. They need to defeat the rabbit as quickly as possible. So he tells Lizu to throw the bag of carrots to Su-King. Su-King is like me? Are you sure? What do I have to do with this? But it's already too late. The bag is already in her hand. Transforming, she asks what Tianhao wants her to do. In her feline mode, she starts dodging the rabbit. The MC asks if it isn't obvious what he wants to do. He's going to send that rabbit to the great beyond. But I highly doubt it. This rabbit is crazy fast. It's already on top of Su-King again. Tianhao yells for Su-King to lead it towards the cave wall. That's when the girl finally gets the plan. Without a second thought, she runs towards the wall. And of course, the rabbit is hot on her heels. But, isn't she going to get cornered? Is this really a good idea? At the last second, she dodges, and the rabbit slams face mine is first into the wall. To make matters worse, it also gets a few rocks to the head. The MC says now is the slime's time to shine. Go on, you little monster, do your job. The slime starts firing its corrosive parts, and our boy celebrates perfect. The rabbit fell into the trap. He tells the slime to use Rupture along with sticky spit. Yeah, buddy, you picked a heck of a fight, my friend. Your face may look seco, but so does the slime's. The beatdown begins and the rabbit loses health fast. Despite being strong, it only has about 800 health, which isn't much. 50 by 50, the MC finally defeats it, gaining 200 XP. Apparently, the kid isn't satisfied. They worked their butts off to defeat one rabbit. The problem is that the slime's abilities are all area minus effect. When the enemy is a single target, the fight gets complicated. Putting his thoughts aside, Su King is pretty ticked off at the MC. After all, he used her as bait. He apologizes, explaining that she was the only one fast enough to dodge the rabbit. Speaking of the rabbit, she remembers it's all Lizu's fault. If it weren't for those damn carrots, none of this would have happened. Lizu starts putting her carrots away, but the MC tells her to wait. Taking out the snow rabbit yielded 200 experience, the highest amount so far. If they can lure more of them, they'll level up much faster. Besides, to clear the abyss, they need to defeat the level 10 boss. To do that, the whole team needs to be at least level 4. Currently, our boy is at level 3 and they're at 2. They'd need about 5 rabbits for everyone to level up. Lizu questions how they're going to face more if they barely manage to defeat one. The MC tells her to relax. Last time, we were the prey. This time, we'll be the hunters. Su King is in immediately. Since she's aiming for the top, she can't waste any time. And so, the hunt begins. The trap is set, and the first sucker is already on its way. The trio is hidden behind a rock, just waiting for the rabbit to get closer. And as soon as it gets near, the 3 of them jump it. 3 hours of this game later, we see several defeated rabbits. Finally, the 2 girls have reached level 4, and the MC is now at level 5. The system screen shows that they've been inside the abyss for 5 hours. The girls are impressed. In just 5 hours, they're already at level 4. That Fang guy, the god of war, took 8 hours to clear the dungeon, so they're flying. Lizu says that if they keep this up, they'll break the record, but Su King reminds her it won't be that easy. The boss isn't going to just hand them the victory. The MC agrees. According to the guide, the boss is the walking zombie leader who commands wolves and other zombies. The fight against him should last at least 2 hours. Hearing this, Lizu asks what they're going to do now. Su King turns and says that now they're going to rest for at least 30 minutes. During this time, the MC takes the opportunity to sacrifice a little more life. The problem is that the HP gain per level is decreasing. Just to be clear, the summon doesn't level up just by sacrifice, it also levels up by defeating monsters. The sacrifice is just a way to speed up the process. At least that's what it said at the beginning. But so far we've only seen him level up through the MC's sacrifice. This isn't really worth it. Besides, even after going up to levels, the slime didn't gain any new abilities. Like I said, it's not paying off. The MC just prays the boss isn't a nightmare or else it's game over for them. But that's when an explosion happens outside. Instantly, the 3 of them jump, and they run to see what it is. Arriving there, they see a Pegasus? Our boy doesn't quite understand what that thing is. The system explains that it's a hidden boss and actually, it's not a Pegasus. It's a unicorn, and it has a lot of health, 1,500 to be exact. Our boy can't even believe it's a real unicorn, but he's also happy to have stumbled upon a hidden boss, even if it's much stronger than the normal dungeon boss. Out of nowhere, the unicorn's eyes start to glow. Looks like it's charmed our boy. The kid starts walking, hypnotized, saying what a beautiful thing. But he's walking straight towards an abyss. Where are the girls? Is no one going to help? His saving grace is our little slime. It takes a good bite out of the MC's heel. Even while complaining, the kid wakes up, not understanding why the slime bit him. Yeah, MC, you'll find out when you look ahead. Looking forward, he realizes the girls are also hypnotized. There they are, with these looks on their faces, saying what a beautiful thing. But they're about to fall. He better help them, and fast. With the slime's help, the MC manages to grab both of them in time. To escape the charm, he hides behind a rock with them. Su King realizes it's a hidden boss, but doesn't understand why it appeared. Wasn't it supposed to be the zombie leader? Well, the unicorn is the guardian of life. Maybe it appeared because they killed too many rabbits. Lizu comments that they also took out a bunch of undead, so the zombie boss should have appeared, not a pony with a horn. Su King agrees, saying they've already taken out several mini-minus bosses and only the zombie leader is left to clear the dungeon. But now with this hidden boss, the situation looks bad. Its stats are much higher, the difference is grotesque, they'll probably be wiped out. Lizu, crying, says she doesn't want to die there and asks if there's any way to escape. Our boy says that running is not an option. After killing so many rabbits, they've already been marked. Oh, so now we're totally screwed, Lizu laments. Hold on there, Snowflake, says the MC. Thanks to our strategy, we cleared almost the entire dungeon in half the time. Now all we have to do is defeat the boss to take the #1 spot. First, we just need to take out the hidden boss. He personally makes a point of guaranteeing that neither of them will get hurt. Standing up, Su King says it's just a unicorn and that it's not going to scare her. Seeing everyone's motivation, Lizu stands up too. So, let the games begin. The team realizes the creature has found them again behind the rock. And this time, it's activating the horn charge ability. And here it comes at full speed. Noticing the attack, Yanhao yells for everyone to scatter. The impact is huge. Seriously, if they had stayed behind that rock, it would not have ended well. With a single attack, the jerk would have taken out all 3 of them. This time, the creature activates Purifying Melody. It's a hellish noise. The MC immediately yells for Lizu to see if she can do something. Immediately, the girl starts casting several enchantments. She casts resistance, purification, lullaby, weaken, damage bonus. Everything she's got, she's throwing at it. Of course, this makes the creature very angry. This time, it activates the bestial stomp ability, and it goes straight for Lizu. It was smart, focusing on the weakest member of the team. But before it can land the hit, Su-King comes in with a flying kick, and it looks like she's going to deliver a solid knee strike. Wow, that's exactly what it is. A knee strike straight to the animal's throat. And she even taunts it, telling the pony to bring it on. Oh, looks like the creature is pissed. Angrily, its target changes. Coming at a high speed, it almost hits Su-King. The girl realizes that a hidden boss really does have surprising speed. She was a hair's breadth away from biting the dust. Okay, now she's in the air, but the creature isn't stupid. Taking advantage of the moment she can't move, it attacks again. Noticing the movement, the MC yells for Su-King to watch out. But it's already too late. At least the unicorn didn't hit anything vital. We can agree on that. As soon as Su-King hits the ground, Lizu rushes to help. And this is after the MC said he wouldn't let either of them get hurt. Imagine if he hadn't said anything. Well, at least now he's angry. He says it's time to get started. Yeah, right, you jerk. Only after the girl gets hurt do you decide to fight. But anyway, he summons the demonic slime again. Noticing the slime's presence, the unicorn immediately turns. But the slime is already in the air. And there it goes again, shooting its corrosive spit. Amazingly, the girls notice that the attack is being effective. The MC comments that unicorns have a weakness to dark minus at rebuke attacks, so he was expecting a good result. He just didn't imagine the slime could apply so much pressure. That being the case, he tells the slime to keep attacking. And the unicorn really is suffering a lot, so much so that it starts to retreat. Not retreat, run away. It really couldn't handle the heat. But of course, our boy isn't going to give it a chance to escape. He tells the slime to use its corrosive ability in the demonic sacrifice. The slime starts doing some crazy moves, but launches itself towards the unicorn. In a few moments, it manages to catch up to the creature, and even gives it a little hello. But just to keep with tradition, it says it's just going to give it one more bath. You know, the kind of bath that gets rid of any dirt? Yeah, that one. With the slime's hard work, the unicorn is finally defeated. Just kidding, the damn thing is back on its feet. I thought it had kicked the bucket, but nope. To make matters worse, there it goes, activating that infernal sound ability again. But this time, no one is stupid. Everyone covers their ears. But along with that, the unicorn comes charging in for a horn strike. Our boy tells the slime to use rupture. But it's too late. But no, because the slime used rupture right on time. If the attack from one was already bad, imagine now with two. With few options left, the unicorn uses the trample ability. This makes our boy a little anxious, since rupture only lasts for 3 minutes. One of the slimes starts getting trampled, but the other one is already up there. This time, it's going to try a slightly different tactic. Instead of shooting from a distance, why not just throw itself completely on top of the unicorn? From the tongue sticking out, I can tell the attack is working. The system announces that, due to fatal damage, the unicorn has entered berserker mode. Our boy realizes this is not good at all. He tells the slime to fall back. From now on, this unicorn is going to go nuts. And then the unicorn looks at the MC. The MC looks at the unicorn. And that's all that happens. Where's the berserker attack, my friend? Aren't you going to do anything? Apparently not, but something catches the MC's attention. The creature's blood is making small plants grow on the ground. Su-King asks what Yeonhao is doing. Why don't you just finish it? The MC tells them both to wait, but the other clueless one says she'll help too. They haven't done anything so far, but suddenly they want to solve the problem. These women. I guess their phones finally die. Just kidding, hey. For the love of God, don't cancel me. Our boy just watches because he knows it's too late. Su-King has pretty much already finished off the monster. Now it's down, but is it crying? Hey MC, tell Su-King to back off now. But there she is, all dazed, realizing the creature really is crying. But it's at this moment that a huge burst of magical energy explodes towards the sky. The noise is so intense it hits all three of them at once. Along with that, everything starts to crumble. And the worst part, a huge boulder is coming straight for the MC's head. I thought he was going to dodge, but instead he tells the slime to swallow the rock. And the slime shoves the whole thing in its mouth. That's what she said. Well, at least it was efficient. It not only swallowed the rock, but nearly disintegrated it. The problem is there are probably at least 40 more of those rocks coming. The MC yells for Lizu to get close to him fast, unless she wants to press F to pay respects. The same goes for Su-King. The difference is that she's more agile, so she can break some of the rocks. And when they're too big, she simply dodges. Getting close to the MC, she asks what's happening. Why is everything collapsing? He explains that the area's boss was eliminated, so the magic sustaining the place is dissipating. But at that moment, he makes that dumbfounded face again. Looks like more trouble is on the way. There's a little rock falling straight towards the unicorn. Tianhao tells the slime to use rupture and protect the unicorn. I just don't get the point of this. Wasn't the unicorn defeated? Didn't it bite the dust? Or did another area boss die? That's also a possibility. But anyway, the slime splits, and instead of stopping at the unicorn, it goes straight for the rock. Thus, it consumes it completely, and the unicorn remains intact. Intact is a strong word, but it stays alive. At least that's what we assume, since the MC ordered it to be protected. To make sure nothing else hits it, the slime creates a bubble around the creature. But it doesn't do much good because the creature is already at its end. At least we have some good news: the earthquake has finally stopped. Our boy calls the group to check on the unicorn. Surprised, Su-King asks how that happened. The MC explains that the unicorn's blood has healing properties. The earth began to regenerate when it came into contact with the blood. Quietly, he asks the unicorn to get up. As soon as it stands, Su-King wants to finish it off for good, just to be sure. But our boy asks her to wait. She asks, "What do you mean? Just finish it already, man?" Li Zhu also says to wait, that there's something wrong with the unicorn. Of course, it's trying to do something. Our boy just doesn't quite understand what. That's when the unicorn falls again, but this time with a cry. Of course, this cry catches everyone by surprise. The girls jump back. Su-King insists they've waited long enough and that it's better to finish it now. The MC asks her to wait just a little longer, but she retorts that they've waited long enough. Enough waiting, man. End this. And then again, the creature starts coughing up blood. Come on, this unicorn isn't helping, is it? Let's go, my friend. Just get it over with. But apparently there's something inside its belly. We see a tiny little horn. Well, a horn coming out of a unicorn's belly can't be anything else. It can only be a baby unicorn. Su-King doesn't understand why there's another unicorn there. Just to be safe, we should probably finish that one off too. That way there's no danger. Our boy steps in front, asking her to wait a bit. The problem is she was already coming in with her claws out. Judging by the blood falling on the unicorn, I think our boy took one for it. Yelling, Su-King asks what he thinks he's doing. But that's when the system announces contract established. A free baby unicorn, what a score. The baby creature simply starts to disappear. And for some reason, it heads towards the MC's forehead. The system shows the monster's stats since it's still a baby. It has almost nothing. Defense 2, attack 15, agility 100, but it's at level 1. But at least it's the MC's now. He was already expecting the creature to be weak at first. But it's free, my friend. Who's going to turn that down? If you think about it, the slime was also a piece of crap in the beginning. Now he thinks, can you turn a unicorn into a demonic unicorn? Outside the MC's subconscious, the girls ask what's happening and where the unicorn is. That's when the mother unicorn starts to glow. Along with the glow, the ground starts to crumble away. Su-King starts pulling Li Zhu and asks why the MC is still just standing there. But he's saying goodbye to the mother unicorn, assuring her that he'll take good care of her baby. With that said, the creature dissolves into light. And the system announces that the MC has defeated the Abyss Unicorn, receiving the unicorn horn for forging, the main for who knows what, the blood poisonous, and a dungeon completion chest. But the MC is being incredibly stupid. He's focused on the system, which announces that he broke the dungeon record and that the rankings are being updated. But he should worry about that later. The dummy forgot that the floor is crumbling. And now, even if he wanted to, he wouldn't be able to run. The only fate left is to fall. He fought so hard, did all that, just to get wiped at the end. What a moron. The girls worried, even scream for him. But it's already too late for our boy. His saving grace is the system, which asks if he wishes to leave the dungeon. At least he doesn't make that mistake and hits yes. That's when he starts to teleport. And, of course, the girls too. Now, on the outside, Li Zhu breathes a sigh of relief. She swore that this time she was going to meet Jesus in person, right after tears. But guess who comes over to give him a piece of her mind? He even tries to calm her down, but I don't think it's going to work. The people outside comment that the scoreboard has updated and that a new name is about to enter the list. An NPC says that someone is leaving a dungeon and that it's probably the team that made it into the rankings. But another one comments that the MC's group just came out too. Could it be that they were the ones who broke the record? A hooded figure calls the guy an idiot, saying that the MC's team obviously gave up since they were first out, not leaving on their own terms. Hearing this, Su-King is ready to throw down with the guy, but Li Zhu holds her back. That's when the other team actually leaves the dungeon. We see it's the Three Stooges. You can already tell trouble is brewing. As soon as the family man comes out, he comes face to face with the MC. He comments that it's impressive that he never imagined a loser like the MC would manage to get out. Were you forcibly teleported? But take a good look. Folks, the three of them came out, but where are the other two members of their group? Yep, the MC was right. The rookies didn't survive with these three morons. Turning to Su-King, he asks, aren't you that pretty girl from school? What are you doing with this loser? But Su-King just tells him to get lost. Navara calls him shameless, but Wang Dong tells him to stop right there. Probably because Su-King is from some important family. I'm betting she's not just anybody. The family man asks Jian how if he's finally seen the difference between them. But the MC just gives a sly little smile and tells Wang Dong to open his eyes wide, and then he'll see the real difference. This gets the family man pretty stressed out. However, the system announces that the rankings have been updated. First place now belongs to Li Yanhao. I confess, it's a bit unfair, isn't it? He didn't do it all alone. It should say Li Yanhao's team, but they just put his name. Kun and Navarre can't believe the MC's in first place. Real quick, the family man takes his hand off the MC's shoulder. The crowd comments that first place, which belonged to Fang, the so-minus called God of War, was taken after 3 years. Again, Navarre yells that the MC cheated, that it must have been that. This trash already did it at school. He definitely did it again in the rankings. I don't know what impresses me more, Navarre's argument or the idiots who believe him. But someone calls them all ignorant, explaining that it's a dungeon ranking and there's no way to cheat. Navarre asks who dares to question him. Oh, but he swallows his words right after. Apparently, the people arriving are no small fry. The group ranges from level 7 to 9, with a barbarian, priest, mage, assassin, swordsman. The team is stacked. The crowd comments that it's the Muhong siblings in their team. And apparently, these siblings have a guild, the Muhong Guild. Plus, both of them have professional titles, something very hard to get. But why did they come here? Unlike amateurs, members of professional guilds use exclusive portals to enter the abyss. They only come to the amateur portals when they need to form a group. But that's not their case. Their group is already full. The family man tries to introduce himself to Miss Muhong, bragging about being a C- rank paladin. But he's completely ignored. Navarre gets furious. How dare she ignore my brother? He's a paladin. But she just turns and says how sad for a paladin to be such a trash person. Well, Navarre is feeling brave. He draws his sword and asks what she said. But his brother tells him to stop. Wang Dong says it's fine that the lady can look down on him, but he warns her the MC is trash and definitely used some dirty trick to get to the top. Turning to the MC, he says he got lucky this time. Next time, I'll show you what real strength is. Shu King comments that they're finally gone. Man, some people just love to talk. The blonde guy approaches and says you must be Yin Hao, the one who broke the ranking record. My name is Muhongyu. Yes, Muhongyu from the Muhong family. Such creativity, good lord. Miss Muhong, his sister, asks if the MC isn't going to greet her brother. Muhongyu tells his sister Zuzu to calm down. Breaking the ice, the MC can only manage a hello. Yep, that's all he knows how to say. But then someone grabs his arm. Su King asks if the blonde guy is blind. Can't you see the MC is with me? Muhongyu says he's just talking to the MC and asks her to please leave. Su King asks if he thinks he can just take Yinhao, but the MC says they're not here to waste time and that they're leaving. Stepping in front of them, Miss Muhong says they aren't here to waste time either. We just want the MC. The crowd can't believe what they're seeing. The Muhong Guild is here to steal the summoner. Of course, Su King says no way in hell. She thinks that she can't lose our boy, or else her rank will go down the drain. The rest of the team approaches, telling Su King to step aside because they're taking the MC today. The NPCs comment that it's not worth fighting, that it's better to just accept. Their team has to A- ranks and 3 B- ranks. Lizu asks quietly if the MC is going to accept. Is he? Su King turns and threatens, if you dare, you won't live to tell the tale tomorrow. Muhongyu says the choice is up to the MC. I, the Golden Knight, invite Jianhao to join our team. As soon as he says that, a system screen pops up. Accept the invitation or not? Su King says the MC doesn't need to answer, that she already said he's not going. But the MC just replies sure, as in, sure what? Even the girls are confused. But smiling, he confirms that sure, he'll go. And this sends Su King into a rage. Not just her, but Lizu too. Muhongyu says the MC's choice was very smart. Now just accept the team invitation. Yeah, he said sure, but he hasn't pressed the button yet. Su King, being held back, yells for him not to accept. The problem is that Muhongyu's offer is really good. He would come out on top, but our boy presses no. Yep, that surprises everyone, especially Miss Muhong. The MC tells them to calm down and says he'll join their team, but only if they agree to a few conditions. Miss Muhong retorts that they're already letting a summoner join, that he should be grateful enough. The MC says if there's no negotiation, that's fine. Muhongyu asks him to wait and asks what his demands are. Our boy says they're simple conditions. First, after entering the abyss, everyone follows his orders. Second, no one steals XP without permission. And third, all the loot is his. Of course, this makes the entire team angry. The MC asks what they're going to do. If you accept, I'll join the team right now. The team tells their captain not to accept under any circumstances. And you know who loves this? Shu King. She scoffs, can't accept the conditions? That's fine. Just try to get the ranking on your own. The girl found the MC to be pretty bold, challenging the Muhong Guild in public. The kid's got guts. One of the members asks for permission to teach the MC a lesson, but the leader tells everyone to calm down. Since Brother Lin has no intention of forming a team, we don't need to keep provoking him. Our boy replies that it's not like that at all. He just can't stand teams that use their power to steal from others. Good heavens, the MC is feeling brave today. I want to see what he's banking on. Muhongyu says he's just #1 in the Winter Abyss ranking, that he should stop getting a big head and not celebrate too early. With that said, they turn their backs and leave. Su King tells them to do the same, that for today, it's better to bounce. But there's one person holding a major grudge against the MC. Yep, Miss Muhang. She does not look like she's going to forgive him. The MC comments that if they enter the abyss 2 more times, they'll definitely reach level 10. But that's when, out of nowhere, he feels a chill down his spine. Oh, but 2 girls asking if he was really going to accept the offer. The MC asks for calm and tries to explain himself. But from the screams, there was no time for an explanation. After giving the boy a beating, they say they're going to restock on supplies and will meet him in the afternoon. And they're right. For now, it's best to leave since the waiting time to re-minus enter the dungeon is 1 hour and 20-3 minutes. Our poor boy, after taking a beating, finally gets up and says he's going to find a place to rest until the girls get back. The experience from defeating the unicorn got him to level 6. Plus, he still hasn't tested the abilities of his new summon. That being the case, why not call it out for a look, right? Man, this time the summon comes with an intense glow. But how do I explain this to you guys? The unicorn simply didn't appear. It glowed, and nothing happened. The MC is left wondering where's my summon? The system immediately informs him summoning failed. The creature hasn't hatched yet, and the MC tells the system to start the incubation right away. The little system replies okay, it'll just take 3 days. With not much else to do, the MC accepts it. He'll have to wait, there's no way around it. The only thing left now is to check out the rewards. Yes, the rewards. Remember he got a chest when he left the dungeon. But before seeing that blessed reward, he receives an email. Opening the email, he's earned the title of fastest man. I'm just not sure if that's a compliment. The guy got the title quickest man, is that right? Never mind, at least he got another gift. The system says that upon opening it, he'll get something random from the Black Abyss. But for the MC, there's no complaining. If it's coming for free, my friend, it's pure profit. Well, facing his 2 gifts, he decides to open the more basic chest first, the one from completing the dungeon. Right off the bat, he gets armor that gives plus 50 HP in 1 defense and a small experience vials. It's not much, but it helps. Now it's time to open the more important chest, the one that came with the title of quickest man. Just kidding, the fastest isn't always the quickest. And you guys know how it is, right? All that tension. In one shot it's the chest opening and the next it's the MC looking startled. All that just to show he got a silver minus grade necklace which gives plus 50 magic, plus 10 mental, and cold resistance. On top of that, he got an experience vial and a recovery vial. But what really matters is the silver minus grade equipment. The grades are common, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, emerald, legendary, and divine. And for him, a silver item at the start of the game is pretty damn good. He tells the system to equip everything. And a badass set of armor immediately appears. Look at the style on this kid's son. Of course, the armor doesn't show up all the time, but at least he knows he's protected. In addition to his SSS talent, he now has a new ability fully armed. The good news is he also got his skill points. Since he only has 1 skill, he doesn't think much. It all goes into that one. Now, the fully equipped ability is at level 3. Basically, the MC can double all of his summon stats for 200 seconds. Our boy breaks into a huge grin. Clearing the dungeon now is going to be way easier. Taking the opportunity, he decides to level up the slime a little more. Sacrificing another 100 life for it to go up 1 level is good enough, but that's when he sees an option for great advancement. Curious, he starts poking around the system. Is the slime going to get a new ability? As much as he searches, he can't find any description, so there's no other way. He's going to have to find out the hard way. His life, which was at 1,100, is now at 500. It took 600 health to make this damn thing evolve. But from the looks of this spectacle, it's gonna be good. Whoa, hold on. Why am I seeing some vaguely human-minus looking parts coming out of there? What's happening to the slime? The only way to find out is by smashing that like button on this video, my dude, and subscribing to the channel so you don't miss the next part of this crazy ride. Faced with that bizarre scene, the MC is totally lost, wondering what kind of craziness is going on. Turns out our dear brave slime decided to evolve and turned into a girl. Okay, calling her gorgeous might be pushing it, but she actually looks pretty decent. You know, the problem is this new form didn't come with any outfit, right? This leaves the MC totally awkward, not knowing where to look to hide his embarrassment. Trying to process the info, the only thing hammering in his head is, why on earth isn't this creature dressed? While Lin is basically having a stroke, the little red slime just stands there with a blank stare, not getting what the drama is about. Without thinking twice, she crouches down and gets ready. In a quick move, the Slima girl jumps straight onto the MC. Since the impact was heavy, our boy ends up losing his balance and hits the deck back first. Cutting to the scene at Black Abyss Plaza, Su Qing is already losing her patience, wanting to know where that rascal Lin disappeared to. Lai Shu, being the sensible one, reminds her they just need to check his location on the team panel. Yeah, in the middle of her rage, she totally forgot that detail. Even though she hates to admit it, she decides to check right away cause they're in a rush. Opening the map, she sees the MC is way out in the middle of the forest. Then the question pops up, what the heck is he doing out in the sticks? Either way, there's no time to waste guessing. If the missing guy is there, that's exactly where they're marching to right now. Back in the forest, we return to that moment of excitement and chaos. Right at the exact moment the evolved slime threw herself onto poor Lin. But can you believe it? Who would have imagined that blob would turn into a human? And it's not just anyone. The visuals have the MC sweating bullets. The situation is heating up faster than a sidewalk in July. The creature, innocent and not understanding his nervousness, keeps clinging to him like it's the most normal thing in the world. The problem is that Lin, my friend, doesn't have the heart condition to handle this for too long. He tries to get up super fast and attempts to create some vital safety space. Accessing the system inventory, he pulls out some kind of tunic to solve the problem. He tosses the piece to Lil Slime and tells her to get dressed immediately. The girl looks at the fabric with a confused face, not understanding what that's for. Since she's never worn clothes in her life, the concept of getting dressed makes zero sense in her head. In her innocence, she actually tries to store the clothes inside her own body. A bit awkward, the MC has to explain that it's for wearing on the outside, to avoid any unwanted exposure. Rescuing the outfit, he asks her to lift her arms and cooperate. With all the care in the world, he dresses the creature, wondering at what moment he became a dad to a teenage slime. Just then, a system screen pops up warning that her defense increased. Just a tiny bit, exactly 0.1, but it's something. Lin finds that interesting. In theory, this proves that summons in human form can use gear. Curious as ever, the kid decides to open the status window to check the attributes of his new waifu. After all, she just evolved. Analyzing the data, he notices she unlocked 2 new abilities. Acid Rain, leveled up and became Strong Corrosive Acid Rain. Plus she got Demonic Arm, which seems to be a nice bonus from this evolution. The boy thinks the skills are pretty broken and is already dying to test the firepower at the first opportunity. Meanwhile, the 2 girls arrive at the edge of the forest, wondering why Lin Boy ended up so far away. Checking the map, they notice the MC is right up ahead. Su tells Lai Shu to pick up the pace since the target is super close. Sneaking up quietly and hiding behind a tree, Su celebrates finally finding the rascal. The problem is the angle. From their perspective, it looks like the MC is hugging the redhead girl from behind. This kid's timing sucks. What a curse. Live, she arrives right behind her, out of breath, asking if they caught up to him yet. But as soon as she lays eyes on the scene, she freezes instantly too. The platinum blonde, without thinking twice, starts screaming, demanding to know what Lin thinks he's doing. The scare is so big the MC almost jumps out of his skin, asking what they're doing there. Full of venom, Su asks if they happen to interrupt some intimate moment. That's when it hits him. The MC freezes, trying to process how he's gonna explain this colossal misunderstanding without looking like a creep. And sure enough, Su's scream of PR echoes through the entire forest. A while later, the MC is already on the ground, all banged up and whining. Su defends herself, saying she didn't have a crystal ball to know the girl was the slime, and that it's his fault for not explaining sooner. Outraged, Lin fires back, saying he didn't even have a chance to open his mouth before the beatdown started. But alright, water under the bridge. Back on his feet, the boy returns to the initial question: what exactly did you 2 come to do in the middle of the woods? Short on patience, the platinum blonde gives it to him straight. They're already late for the meeting, or else their entry into the black abyss is going down the drain. With no way out, the boy apologizes, making up a lame excuse that he was resting and lost track of time. Just then, a system window pops up in front of him, asking for confirmation to enter the dungeon. However, the scene cuts abruptly to Mu Hong, who apparently has already been wreaking havoc inside. One of his henchmen, a guy who's a few fries short of a happy meal, walks up asking what the boss's next move is. Another member suggests the solution would be to buy the item from whoever grabbed it, even if it costs an arm and a leg. Fed up with the stupidity, the bald guy slaps his buddy upside the head and calls him a dummy, reminding him the mission is top secret and they can't just go around negotiating. The group's mage brings up the theory that another guild pulled a fast one on them and swiped the item first. Annoyed with the chatter, Shikshu tells everyone to zip it. She asks if they are idiots, stating that for sure it was an indie team, those groups that play loose without a guild, that snagged the prize. Meanwhile, we head back to the MC's group, who finally decide it's time to stop stalling and enter the dungeon. With the team complete, there are no more excuses to delay the fun. But then there's a weird cut to a snowy setting. Looks like the timeline is a bit messy, or there was an editing glitch, but let's assume this is a glimpse into the future. Cool. Sishu tells her brother the area is clear, but the item they're looking for is nowhere to be found. The leader stares at his own sword, looking lost and deep in thought. Frustration is written all over his face. Looks like some smart elect really swiped the loot before they arrived. His sister confirms the suspicion. Someone was definitely here and cleaned the place out. The boss decides that's enough for today. The order is to report the situation to the higher-ups and then move to plan B. In a dramatic gesture, he plunges his sword into the ground. Immediately, a teleportation portal activates. In seconds, the whole group vanishes from that icy area. Now we're talking back to the present time, exactly when the MC and his team enter the dungeon. Lai Shu starts off applying pressure, warning that this time speed is crucial. The MC gulps and lets out a wise ma'am, thinking about how bossy she is. But why argue? Better to obey than get a smack on the head. So, the trio starts advancing through the dense forest of the dungeon. It doesn't take long for the first challenge to pop up. With his senses sharp, the MC detects the threat and warns that something's coming. Su, confident as always, says to relax cause she'll handle this business solo. The problem is, it wasn't just one. 3 appear. No, wait, counting correctly, it's 5 monsters at once. Lai Shu gets tense instantly, since the info said there would be just one wolf, not a whole pack. The MC also finds that math weird. Multiple Multiplying the difficulty by 5 right at the entrance is a sign that something is definitely off. On the other hand, our wolf girl doesn't seem worried in the slightest. Without hesitating, she charges in with fire in her eyes. She just yells askingly Shu to do her part and drop the buffs. Getting the message, the support starts playing her music to strengthen her teammate. The magical melody hits Sue with perfect timing. With her attack power tuned up, she dispatches the first wolf in the blink of an eye. And keeping the momentum, she sends the second, third, fourth, and fifth straight to the lobby. Gotta admit, it was a walk in the park. With her brute force, I think she could have soloed that even without the harp's help. Sue herself comments, impressed how her damage went up after leveling up. Combat classes are a whole different story, huh? Meanwhile, the MC analyzes the scene. Even with the easy win, the fact that the dungeon is different leaves him feeling suspicious. But Sue couldn't care less. For her, bring on 1, 5, or 10 wolves. The result is going to be the same, mincemeat. Lin insists that the numerical increase in monsters isn't normal and questions if that's just a bizarre coincidence. Not paying much attention, Sue says that doesn't matter now, and they can discuss theories while moving forward. The boy agrees silently, thinking the next checkpoint will be the real test to see if the dungeon is bugged or not. The trio continues the trek, but the atmosphere of the place keeps getting heavier. Suddenly, the MC freezes in place and warns that things are looking ugly. Sue, stubborn as ever, ignores the warning and tells Lai Shu to keep the buffs up, because she's gonna clear the path with her fists. But before they could take another step, the MC lets out a desperate scream ordering them to stop right now. And that's the exact moment, my dude, that the ground starts to shake and everything is about to rock. Suddenly, the ground starts shaking violently. Where it looked empty before, a gigantic monster just sprouts out of nowhere. And just to prove that when it rains, it pours, a pack of wolves shows up to join the party. Doing a quick head count, we've got 8 wolves and 2 giants. Yeah, I counted amidst the chaos. Lai Shu, who isn't exactly a fan of dying young, starts panicking at that enemy army. The boy analyzes the scene and notices this isn't a random spawn. Did the beast get smart, or is the game just trolling us? Whether they got smart or not doesn't matter, cause it's about to go down anyway. To avoid turning into roadkill, the 2 girls scramble back to gain some distance. But the MC holds his ground. No way he's losing his badass poos now. The kid stands there, planted like a tree, unshackable. The big monster stares at him like he's saying, "Oh, so you're the funny guy of the group. Then handle this pack and let's see if you can take the heat." Immediately, the 8 wolves charge at our boy with blood in their eyes. However, he stays there, calm as a monk. Actually, he just raises his hand and preps the show. He yells summon. Cutting the scene abruptly, we go outside the black abyss. The crowd nearby starts freaking out with the sudden earthquake, clueless about what's happening. Some guy starts screaming, desperate, asking why the world is shaking. His panic ends up spreading to everyone around. Meanwhile, someone points to the portal, warning that something is coming out. And then, my friend, bodies go flying everywhere. People are tossed around along with a rain of bones and skulls. Those who were already scared are now in shock. One poor guy can't handle the sight and ends up losing his lunch on the ground. A guard runs over to help and asks a survivor what the hell happened inside. The guy, all banged up on the floor, warns with a weak voice that the black abyss has collapsed, a total disturbance. The guard begs the guy not to kick the bucket right now, because he needs more details than just that loose phrase. But it's no use, the dude is like a broken record and can only repeat, disturbance in the abyss. A system window pops up confirming the wounded guy has pressed F, but hold on, the countdown for the emergency teleport has started. The problem is, this guy got out, but what about the rest? And those who couldn't activate the teleport in time. To make the nightmare worse, a mountain of skeletons starts getting spewed out of the portal. The crowd, already terrified, now goes into collective hysteria mode. At the same time, a system notification pops up in everyone's face, warning that the dungeon difficulty has changed. Now things just got real, nightmare difficulty. The guard panics and says he needs to tell the mayor like yesterday. Back to the brawl, we see the MC radiating some sinister energy. Repeating the gesture, he raises his hand and commands, "Summon demonic slime." That wolf coming in hot to bite the MC's neck simply ceases to exist. The other monsters stop and look with that face like, wait, what just happened here? At that instant, our redhead appears behind the MC while he orders his friends to retreat. The 2 girls don't think twice. They agree and leave the hot potato in his hands. Already safe, Sue wonders why the monsters got so strong and if Lin can tank all that alone. Although the MC dispatched most of the wolves, there are still 2 left, plus the giants. But the kid doesn't care. He taunts the monstrosity yelling, "Come on, what are you waiting for?" This audacity has the beasts foaming at the mouth with rage. One of the wolves was gonna attack, but out of nowhere the giant grabs his own ally and uses the beast as a weapon, smashing his partner into the ground with full force. Go figure the logic of this giant, right? But it doesn't matter much, because that was the perfect opening the MC needed. When the monsters look around, they realize the pack has been decimated. And man, there was a boatload of wolves. Our demonic slime cleaned house in record time, and as usual, she's already back to her safe zone, clinging to the MC. Watching from afar, the 2 girls are seeing their jaws hit the floor at that performance. There's no denying it, the MC leveled up to an insane degree. However, on the sneak, a tricky little wolf comes creeping up from behind, aiming right for his ankles. But the kid basically has eyes in the back of his head. Noticing the approach, he gives the immediate order, repel the enemy. Lil Slime doesn't waste time. She scoops the boy up high and preps the counterattack. The wolf even tries to be slick and dodge the blow, but the fun is over fast, because the slime corrects her aim and smacks him dead on. Down below, Li Shu comments desperately that the captain is surrounded, but incredibly, he keeps fighting back. The MC, on the other hand, stays ice cold, reading every step the enemies take. Realizing he's surrounded, he tells his summon to activate total defense mode. And now, as much as the wolves try to bite, they can't even put a dent in the barrier. The girls, not understanding the skill, think the slime is getting wrecked. But for real, the creature isn't taking any damage at all. When they realize the monsters are the ones hurting themselves attacking the barrier, they go back to cheering like cheerleaders. The creatures aren't digging this at all, and keep trying to chow down on the slime out of pure rage. The biting comes with more pressure, trying to break through the defense at all costs, which inevitably has the girls freaking out again. My heart can't take this. That miserable wolf is way too persistent. It seems the wretched thing won't give up the bone anytime soon. Panic sets in when they see the defense finally crack. Taking advantage of the opening, the two giants decide to join the party. And of course, they aren't coming to slap hands, they're here to lay the smack down with those beautiful giant clubs. Li Shu runs to buff and heal Su, hoping she can save the MC, but first they need to clear the monsters in their way. Getting back to the action, the two remaining wolves keep trying to reach the boy. The kid already figured out their moves, and the counterattack is already mapped out in his mind. If he slips up there, the hit will be so hard it'll be a closed casket funeral for sure. Li Shu, watching the scene, loses it, calls the boy a lunatic, and screams for him to get out of there. But Su steps in, pushing her friend far away from the danger zone. Still tense, Li Shu asks what's gonna happen to Lin. Su, who isn't exactly calm either, says he'll figure something out. I mean, at least that's what she's betting the farm on. At this moment, Su whips out a vial with a red liquid, wondering if that's the only way out. The script explains to us that this is the Vitality Potion, a magical doping that boosts the body for a few minutes. The problem is the side effect. When it wears off, the user takes double the damage suffered. It's like a loan from a loan shark. You take 100 and pay back 200 with sky-high interest. But what can you do? In that tight spot, it seems to be the only ace up her sleeve. Focusing back on the MC, we see him with his hand reached out. He clenches his fist tight and announces, "Good demonic embrace." Damn son, that little wolf didn't even stand a chance. This skill isn't just for crushing, it corrodes everything it touches. The monster is practically disintegrated, leaving nothing but a pile of bones. With the kill confirmed, the system warns that the corrupted wandering wolf bit the dust, yielding that sweet XP for the MC. Down below, Li Shu, who was about to have a heart attack, breathes a sigh of relief seeing it worked. The remaining wolf gets pissed off, wanting to avenge his friend, but let's be real, chances are he's gonna be history too. The giants aren't digging the vibe either and look pretty grim. But the MC couldn't care less. He orders the slime to go beast mode. Without hesitating, Lil Slime unleashes a brutal strike on the two big guys. It was a one-hit wonder, and both of them hit the deck with ease. Down below, the girls are totally shook, not understanding how that slime has so much strength. And the little thing doesn't stop there, already going after the last wolf standing. Riding the momentum, the MC decides to test a new skill on the menu, the Demonic Lash. Yeah, the name is weird as hell. Meanwhile, on the other side of the ring, the giant is getting up and retrieving his club. The difference is that now he's gone full psycho mode after getting knocked down, with the two big guys back on their feet. One ends up grabbing the other from behind. My friend, this scene looks a little sus, huh? Anyway, weirdness aside, they're teaming up to launch the Corrupted Hammerstorm technique. The one acting as a backpack starts building momentum. Next thing you know, he starts spinning his brother around like a helicopter propeller. The MC's eyes go wide, wondering if that's gonna turn into a human tornado. The kid is totally bugged out, like Abyss monsters using a combo move. If this were a hardcore dungeon, maybe, but here. To make matters worse, the girls are too close and are gonna be in the crash zone. Plus, Su knows very well, when monsters fuse, their attack and defense go through the roof. Li Shu starts whining and panicking, not knowing where to run. However, our dear Su always has a plan. She pulls out another flask, who knows if it's the same one as before, and says Lin doesn't have permission to kick the bucket yet. Without thinking twice, my dude, she chugs that liquid down. As soon as the last drop goes down, an insane amount of energy starts leaking from her body. Her face even starts transforming right in front of everyone. Li Shu's jaw drops, seeing her friend practically glowing. Whoa, hold up, her whole body changed, and the crazy chick took on an almost complete beast form. Ignoring any danger, she heads straight for battle. On pure guts, she throws herself into the middle of the tornado. The problem is the MC only sees a giant bear coming his way. The scare is inevitable. He asks himself, where the heck did this beast come from? Turns out her transformation was total. The girl simply turned into a legit polar bear. Meanwhile, the MC and the summon are getting shaken up, unable to get out of the hurricane's eye. Lucky for him, the heavy backup has arrived. Lil Bear is coming in hot, kicking down the door. Since the MC has no clue that's Su, he thinks it's just another enemy monster. He even braces for impact, since there's no way to dodge. But then comes the surprise, the hit never lands. Quite the opposite, he stays in one piece, without a scratch. match. At that moment, Lil Su roars his name, reminding him the fight isn't over yet. That's when it finally clicked. The bear isn't an enemy, it's Su herself. Took the kid a minute, but he got the memo. To add to the attack, he orders the slime to activate the skill and use the demonic arm. And the visuals are insane. Looks like the slime summoned a Ninetales Kurama. Even Lil Bear herself is impressed with what she sees. Actually, the MC activated this skill not just to attack, but to cushion the absurd impact that was coming. The problem is the giants are stubborn and won't let it go. Here they come charging again. Su yells for Lin to stay sharp with the new assault, but the MC, with that mocking little smirk, warns that the same trick doesn't work twice. He gives the final attack order. Immediately, the two monsters are captured and trapped by the slime. The boy clenches his fist tight and, poof, the little monsters are toast, gone to oblivion. Lil Su celebrates the victory over the wretches. And let's be real, this battle took forever, huh? But the joy is short-lived. The potion's side effects start kicking in and her body starts breaking out in a cold sweat. The kid walks up to Lil Su and spills the beans. Thank God she showed up in the nick of time. If it wasn't for that, he would have kicked the bucket for sure. But the question remains, why did she never turn into a polar bear before? Seeing the girl is quiet, the MC finds it weird and asks what happened. That's when we see the damage report. Su has 4,676 HP, but the damage she took was exactly 4,666. The math doesn't lie, my dude. She has only 10 HP left. It's a miracle she's still standing. I mean, standing is a figure of speech because she ends up collapsing right there. The MC goes into shock and runs desperately to help his teammate. Holding her in his arms, he confirms the nightmare. Her health bar is blinking at 10. The damage was so bad she's spitting up that vital tomato juice from her mouth. Lucky for her, our well-prepared boy had a healing potion in his pocket. Without wasting time, he dumps the flask into her mouth, and thank heavens, the health bar starts going back up. Slowly, her consciousness returns and that animalistic form starts to fade away. Lin lets out that sigh of relief, seeing his partner is saved. Man, that was a close call, missed by a hair, but since life isn't a fairy tale, he suddenly realizes his hand is resting on a strangely soft spot. The kid turns beet red and gets totally awkward. He realizes his wandering hand did right on the girl's assets. If you get what I mean. Our platinum blonde, now in human form and dressed, says it's all his fault and starts throwing a fit, while the poor guy stays on the floor, not knowing where to look. And she doesn't stop there. Knowing her temper, she grabs the kid by the collar and lays down the law. If he breathes a word to anyone, he's dead by morning. The MC innocently asks if she's embarrassed. The girl ignores him and asks if he got the message. The kid, being smart, agrees instantly. Got it, didn't see a thing. I'm blind. After that little freakout, she finally lets go of the boy's neck. Su reinforces the warning. He better keep his trap shut, or things are gonna get ugly for him. Sweating bullets, Lin swears on his grave he'll take this secret to the tome. Crisis averted. She tells the boy to get up so they can go find Lishu. The missing girl hasn't shown her face in a while. The MC just salutes and obeys. A little while later, the dynamic duo arrives where Lishu had stayed behind. And when they get there, surprise, is she passed out? Or is Sleeping Beauty taking a nap? The MC finds the scene hilarious. Look at the level of chill on this creature, sleeping in the middle of dungeon chaos. Trying to bring the girl back to reality, Lin starts calling her name. Very slowly, she starts opening her eyes, still a bit groggy. But then the scare hits and she jumps up, screaming that she doesn't want to be eaten by anyone. The MC asks her to relax, saying everything is cool. Su confirms and warns that the area is clear and safe. Our glasses girl, still shaking, asks if it's really true or if they're messing with her. Lin guarantees it is. All creatures were successfully dispatched. Relieved, the girl throws herself into the MC's arms, happy to be alive. The boy, staying humble, says the credit goes to Su, who saved everyone's skin. For some reason, jealousy maybe. Su breaks up the hug real quick. She kills the mood and says they need to plan the next step because danger is still lurking. She gives it to them straight. It's obvious the Black Abyss difficulty skyrocketed to an absurd level. It wasn't just the number of monsters that increased, the strength of the beasts tripled too. Lishu starts spiraling again, asking what they're gonna do in this critical situation. The MC, being sensible, suggests the priority is to get the heck out of there. The environment isn't favorable for anyone. Su fully agrees. It's not worth risking their necks for nothing right now. The boy then opens the system menu and clicks the option to exit the dungeon. The system spits out an annoying warning saying leaving early causes a degradation penalty, and asks if he's sure. Without hesitating, the boy confirms. Screw the penalty, he just wants to live. But then, my friends, exactly what we feared happens. That cursed message, exit failed, appears. At that moment, the two girls' blood runs cold and fear takes over. The system explains the Black Abyss underwent a forced update and changed its name. Now it's called Frozen Valley Abyss, and the difficulty is set to Nightmare mode. The MC gets tense. He figured it was hard, but Nightmare is a whole other level. Now what? Laishi asks the million-dollar question. What are they gonna do if there's no exit? The Platinum Blonde tries to keep calm and says not to panic. Even though the difficulty went up, technically it's still a starter abyss, so it's fightable. The MC agrees, remembering the level restriction didn't change, the monsters just got more jacked. But Lishu, the most rational one in the group, drops the bomb. If the normal mobs almost killed them, imagine what the boss is gonna do. The MC defines the strategy. The only chance is to reach level 10 right now, but for that they're gonna have to split up. Su feels a shiver down her spine with that idea, but ends up agreeing because there's no other option. Without wasting time, he tells Lishu to split. The girl is totally lost, not understanding why the whole squad can't stick together. The MC gives it to her straight. If they stay together, the XP splits by 3 and nobody levels up right. Separated, they hit level 10 in a heartbeat. Getting the logic, the girl gives Lin a little wave and runs to stick to Sue. Meanwhile, the MC starts climbing the ice mountain solo, following his own path away from the team. With that, time flies and about an hour goes by. Lin and his summon are laying the smackdown on several ice monsters, especially those annoying wolves. Finally, after a lot of sweat, the kid reaches the long-awaited level 10. He's totally running on fumes, but the goal was met. But the calm doesn't last long, since a sinister noise starts echoing around there. Looking ahead, they notice something huge sprouting from the ground. Instantly, it hits them. It's the wandering leader. The wretched thing decided to wake up from its nap. And to make matters worse, he didn't spawn near the MC, but exactly where the girls were. Wasting no time, the big monster arrives, throwing his axe right at them. The two try to run for their lives, but Lai Shu, clumsy as always, trips and faceplants into the ground. Seeing this, Sue has no choice but to go back and rescue her friend. Activating the Shadow Step skill, she manages to pull the girl out of there at the last second. Focusing back on the MC, he notices an interesting detail. Even though he's locked at level 10, the Abyss has no restriction for the summon. She can level up all she wants, as long as he has resources to sacrifice. Just to give you an idea, while Lin is at 10, the slime already hit level 15 and her stats are disgustingly strong. Unlike him, who has his evolution locked. He starts questioning if this slowness is his class's fault. Ideally, he needs to speed up the process or get more firepower to take the pressure off his back. At that moment, he pulls that shiny ancient book from his inventory to see if he can find a light at the end of the tunnel. Flipping through the pages quickly, he actually finds a viable solution. Too bad we aren't gonna see what it is right now. That's because the camera cuts back to the brawl with the awakened boss. Desperate, the girls try to get out of the monster's attack range, but the scumbag is chaining an absurd sequence of strikes. And as much as Sue tries to dodge and use fancy footwork, this time, unfortunately, she's cornered. The impact is brutal. She takes 2,230 damage in a single slap. The MC, who had already put the book away, runs to save their skins and orders the slime to rescue the girls. The summon creates a sort of elastic slime net. With that, she manages to grab the two in midair before they go splat. Lin runs over, worried, to check if they're still breathing. Arriving there, he sees they're pretty banged up, but miraculously, still alive. Sue, a bit groggy, comments to the MC that this time she isn't feeling his hand. The problem is a gigantic tornado, just like the previous one, is coming their way. Looking back, the boy realizes the situation is far from resolved. Finally, we get to see the full look of that wretched boss. And just to add insult to injury, he isn't alone. Flying escort, here come several of those ice wolves. And of course, it's not just the dog pound. There are some giants in the mix too. The MC wastes no time and orders the slime to activate the demonic dance skill. Immediately, the slime charges to the front line. She starts hitting and running, zigzagging between the enemies at insane speed. That's the moment the MC decides to play his ace in the hole, the new skill, Full Armament. This beauty basically doubles the summon stats. And to seal the deal, she splits in two. Lin's move was genius. Normally, splitting would cut strength and health in half, but since he doubled the stats beforehand, now he has two slimes with full strength. Pure math, my dude. The MC notices this boss is different from the previous one. He seems much smarter and more dangerous. His stance reminds him more of a human than a mindless beast. Checking the stats, despair sets in. The wretch has 30,000 HP. The legend's name is Leader of the Wanderers, and as usual, he's stacked with OP skills. Desperate, Sue screams at Lin that there's no chance of winning, and he needs to bail while there's still time. For real, running would be a genius idea since the boss is coming with blood in his eyes. But knowing our guy, we know that retreat isn't in the MC's dictionary. The kid figures that, nightmare or not, this is still the starter Abyss boss, so he can't be immortal. Then the idea hits. If they can crack the core in the monster's chest, victory is in the bag. Meanwhile, the big guy keeps laying down the law, focusing all his rage on the slimes. The problem is, the beast isn't dumb. As slippery as the slime is, he can anticipate the move. And the hit lands dry, taking away an absurd 2,700 health. Seeing the damage, the MC thinks, what a son of a... Even worse, the boss targets the other clone, and Lin tries to yell for her to get out of the crash zone. But there wasn't enough time, and our little blob ends up getting thrown against the wall like old bubblegum. With no choice, the boy screams for the slime to retreat immediately before she turns into juice. The little one obeys the command and leaves the danger zone fast. The MC realizes that, unfortunately, his summon can't tank this boss, so he's gonna have to pull a plan B out of his hat. To help out, the boss decides it's too easy and summons more minions to the party. Now it's all or nothing. Lin opens the grimoire and decides to try the so-called accelerated incubation spell. He places the egg in the center, and as the spell starts, a magic circle glows around him. Seeing the opening, the smaller monsters charge the boy to interrupt the ritual. The MC curses mentally, calling them cowards since he's busy there and can't move. But thanks to the gods of plot armor, the beasts get sliced and diced before reaching him. And who shows up to save the day? None other than our dear Sue. The problem is the girl is running on fumes, fighting on pure willpower, and totally broken. To make the scenario worse, the giant boss isn't gonna wait for the MC to hatch his little egg. He comes in hot, prepping a devastating attack. Suddenly, a magic black shield pops up in front of Lin, but the hammer slam was so violent the boom echoed far away, making everything shake. I even thought it was the MC's work, but the kid himself looks confused. Look who decided to shine. It was Lai Shu who put up the defense. Lin stares at the monster, who looks even more pissed off about having his attack blocked. Strumming the harp, Lai Shu warns the barrier is level 1 and won't hold the line for long. The MC gets the message and focuses totally on the spell, knowing every second is gold to save everyone's skin. However, with one more brutal strike, the boss shatters the magic barrier like it's glass. The backlash impact was so strong it threw Li Shu far away. The MC looks back worried sick, but he can't drop the egg now. Trying to buy a few seconds, the red slime throws herself to trap the boss's arm. In the meantime, Lin finishes the casting and yells he's ready, but unfortunately, the slime can't hold the fort anymore. The monster is pure brute force and manages to break free from the blob's grip. And, without giving them a break, he triggers another attack to crush the boy. But then, a blast of blue light blinds everyone. Lin waits in anticipation, hoping it didn't go wrong. And yes, from the middle of the light, the new summon emerges, a unicorn. At first glance, it looks like fairy tale stuff. Kinda harmless, right? But the boss seems to hate the new arrival. He transforms, covering his body with heavy crystal armor. Su, spending the last of her energy, warns that the leader entered phase 2 and begs Lin to run, but the MC is stubborn. He even tries to yell for the unicorn to chill and not go in open-chested. Apparently, the little horse has its own plans and ignores the owner. Stopping right in front of the monster, he starts charging a skill. And when he fires my friend, it's not pony sparkles, it's devastating power. Not only did the attack freeze the whole monster, but it also hit the creature's core dead on. And to seal the deal, the power was so absurd that it didn't just freeze it, it pierced right through the core from side to side. And when the core goes kaput, my friends, the boss gets sent straight to the lobby. Su is in disbelief, thinking, no way, that thing had 30,000 health and we didn't even scratch it. How did that cursed pony one-shot it? The MC, whose jaw is also on the floor, calls the creature over. As soon as the unicorn arrives, he gives it a little pat on the head and asks if the beast is in one piece. The unicorn's look is kinda dark, but apparently, he's totally chill. We see he doesn't have a name yet. Actually, neither does the slime, right? But the stat sheet shows. Special Ice Unicorn, level 1, HP 500, attack a measly 20, but his skill, my partner. When that hits, the enemy turns into a pancake instantly. Speaking of Lil Slime, she finally returns to her official post, the MC's back. The poor thing is totally wrecked because that battle was a grind. The boy acknowledges the effort and says she did great. If she hadn't held the line against the boss, the mission would have gone down the drain and they would have been game over. Going over to his teammates, he checks if everything is in order. Su comments she never imagined he'd save everyone's skin again and asks right away, "Comb here, is this your new summon?" She adds that a level 1 beast soloing a boss that size is just plain bizarre. Our boy admits he went in blind. He had no idea the damage would be so insane either. Su explains that, thinking about it, it makes sense. The boss is dark attribute and the unicorn is light and ice. With that elemental advantage, the damage multiplies. Not to mention his skill is already naturally broken. The MC scratches his head and agrees. Yeah, that actually adds up. But that's when, suddenly, the system screen pops up in front of everyone, congratulating the team for dispatching the dungeon boss. And to the nation's delight, the system starts calculating the rewards. Rest assured, there are goodies for everyone. The system notifies that they earned several extra bonuses. First time in the dungeon, time record, and of course, the insane feat of finishing the boss with a single hit. But then, out of nowhere, a golden light shines right in the MC's face. In the blink of an eye, the kid is transported to a totally different setting, a dark and empty place. And as if the environment wasn't spooky enough, a mysterious cube is floating in front of him. The status screen reveals the name, Purgatory Spirit Vault. It's a legendary item, but with a catch, it nerfs some attributes to absurdly boost spirit. The MC frowns, not understanding how a legendary item can give negative stats in attack and defense. What kind of monkey's paw prize is this? But thinking fast, he figures there must be some secret OP function hidden there. And bingo, the system reveals the cube's true power. It can seal the souls of defeated enemies and summon them in combat whenever the MC feels like it. The MC, still a bit slow on the uptake, questions himself, what do you mean? Did I turn into a necromancer now? At that moment, he sees a light coming down from above. The light makes a turn and dives straight into the cube. The scare is inevitable, but now the pieces start falling into place in his head. And to spell it out for the kid, the system warns that the cube captured a soul. And not just any soul, it's the soul of a nightmare level boss. Who could it be, right? Who was unlucky enough to end up in there? Ah, but the kid isn't that dense. Seeing the little face stamped on the cube, he recognizes the leader of the Wanderers. It finally clicked, kill it, and the soul turns into a Pokemon for him to use later. But the piece ends fast. Out of nowhere, a white wolf lunges at him. Caught with his pants down, the boy freezes. But chill, it was just our dear Su trolling him. The kid, still shaking in his boots, asks if it's really her. With that little mocking smirk, Su confirms and teases, why did you get scared? The boy admits he thought it was another monster, but immediately questions, where did this wolf transformation come from? As far as he knew, her class was linked to Spirit Cat. Turning into a bear was already weird, now a wolf. Su explains he wasn't the only lucky one to get a hidden reward. She also hit the jackpot with a special item. She got the Immortal Phoenix Feather. It's an epic item for druids that basically doubles attack and speed. The MC is outraged. What kind of broken balancing is this. Her item is epic, but it seems more busted than his legendary one. And as if that wasn't enough, her repertoire now includes wolf bear and an immortal phoenix warrior form. The MC freezes at that last part and asks, "Hold up, immortal phoenix warrior, what the heck is that?" Sue changes the subject, saying she won't use the phoenix form for now. Unfortunately, that skill comes with some pretty annoying side effects. Suddenly, Li Shu yells, calling for Sue and Lin. She appears striking a pose, all proud, with a little fairy flying by her side. Looks like the girl got a prize too. Both Sue and the MC are surprised and ask what that critter is. The girl puffs out her chest and says that, from now on, she also has the power to protect the team. The fairy lands on her hat and makes that face like, "Yeah, that's right, trust in mama." Explaining better, Li Shu says she dropped some new gear, and by the looks of it, the thing is potent. The beauty's name is Cyclone Magic Hat. It's part of a set, and although she only has one piece for now, the more parts she gathers, the more absurd the stats get. The MC, confused, asks, "Cyclone? The name is kinda generic, right? Cyclone Magic Hat." The boy admits he's never heard of that set in his life. Sue admits she's out of the loop too, and suggests they ask the professor as soon as they get out of the dungeon. Anyway, the system reveals the hat's passive effect is summoning a guardian spirit that triples all magic effects. The boy stares at the fairy and wonders if that grumpy-looking creature is the so-called Cyclone. Honestly, I don't know where the MC saw a grumpy face, because the thing looks pretty cute, but whatever, the passive effect of that skill is just too broken. Comparing the loot, the MC holds the cube in his hand and thinks the Purgatory Spirit Vault looks way weaker. I don't think he understands how this skill works yet, there's no way. But looking on the bright side, at least the kid still has his 2 summons. At the end of the day, if they weren't there, everyone would be pushing up daisies right now. Enjoying the calm, Sue also tries to pet the unicorn, but the beast is stuck up and turns its face away from her. The funny thing is when Li Shu tries, the creature actually lays down to get some belly rubs. Go figure out this animal's criteria. The MC decides that's enough and it's time to bounce from the dungeon. The difficulty spiked and, even with the boss defeated, it's not good to tempt fate. Finally, he hits the exit button. And this time, with the boss sent to the lobby, the command is accepted. The system order works without a hitch. The group crosses the portal and finally returns to the normal world. Outside, the crowd is jaw-dropped seeing the MC's team come out alive. One of the extras even comments that one of the girls with him is a total hottie. Oh boy, by the look in that guy's eyes, he fell in love instantly. The MC is confused. What's with this warm welcome, my friends? He looks back to check if what people are seeing is the same thing he is. And the math isn't mathing. That's where, my friend, we see a powerful scene. You think it's what? A human? No, it's the MC's new summon. Yeah, the damn thing evolved. Now, not even the MC believes what he's seeing. He definitely didn't expect the little horsey to turn into a total babe out of nowhere. The beauty approaches the MC and asks if Master doesn't recognize her anymore. Still in shock, the MC asks if she really is the unicorn he summoned. Meanwhile, we cut to a group of desperate students. One of them screams to the professor saying things got ugly. The professor turns around and asks for calm, otherwise nobody understands a thing. The guy explains, almost out of breath, that someone else came out of the black abyss, even with all that disturbance going on. The professor understands the gravity and asks if there are any wounded. Placing a hand on the student's shoulder, he asks to be guided to the location. They need to rush to resolve the situation, but that's when the student freezes and holds the professor's arm. The boy corrects the elder, saying they aren't wounded. Actually, they are alive and kicking. Suddenly, a global system announcement pops up, grabbing the attention of everyone in the area. The screen congratulates the MC's group for clearing the abyss on nightmare difficulty. But back to our summoned waifu. The unicorn is there, being all proactive, greeting her master. Seeing the situation spiral out of control, the boy panics and begs, for the love of God, for her not to get any closer. The lady, innocent as can be, asks if the master doesn't want her anymore. Kinda weird conversation full of double entendres, right? Lai Shi pokes Sue and points to the bizarre scene happening right in front of them. Sue looks with a death stare, suspicious to her core, and instantly her blood boils seeing where the MC's wandering hand accidentally landed. After that, I don't even need to narrate, right? You can already guess the boy's fate. He takes a historic beating from our dear Sue, who apparently is jealous on a hardcore level. Li Shu, ever helpful, asks if he's alive and wants a heal. While getting the treatment, the MC says loud and clear that Li Shu is the best person on the team, unlike that other one over there who is pure violence. Li Shu, all humble, says it was nothing. After all, they are on the same team. While they chat, Sue makes sure to cover the unicorn with a cloak. The MC watches and wonders what got into her. One minute she's beating him up, the next she's taking care of the summon. At that moment, the mood gets heavy with the arrival of a group of well-dressed men. That old geezer there is the director, and his face isn't looking too friendly. I don't remember seeing him before, but he looks like trouble. Su King wonders what Feng Yu is doing there. She knows when this old man shows up, it's not good news. Lai Shu, way too innocent, raises her arm and starts yelling, "Hey, we're over here! Oh child, you were supposed to stay quiet, not give away the location." The worst part is the scream works and gets the director's attention immediately. But before the old man could react, several hands grab the MC and the team, and when the director looks at the spot, the group simply vanished. The MC, kind of desperate, looks back and recognizes the kidnapper. It's his tutor. The tutor warns him to keep it down and not yell, or else their cover is going to be blown. The problem problem is they forgot to give Miss Sue the memo, right? Cause that girl has a built-in megaphone in her throat, my friend. Trying to fix the mess, the MC jumps up in a hurry and says it's all good. That's just his tutor and the rest of the squad. Actually, the buddy holding the unicorn got a little flustered with the, let's say, assets of the lady. Getting back to business, the MC asks the tutor what this mess is all about. The older guy explains that the Black Abyss turned into total chaos and there are injured people everywhere. And the bomb drops right in his lap. It's all the MC's fault. The kid is totally lost. Meh. How is this my fault? The tutor gives it to him straight. Of course it was you, my dude. That summon right there is a unicorn, right? You made a contract with her inside, didn't you? Surprised and nervous, the MC tries to figure out how the heck the tutor found that out so fast. That reaction was the confirmation he needed. Looks like the kid really hatched an egg in there. If the director finds out about this, they're toast. Desperate, the tutor grabs the MC and says he's cooked, and they need to bounce like yesterday. But it's already too late. The boy feels that cold chill running down his spine. Looking around, they realize they're surrounded. It's over, nowhere to run. The director arrives throwing his weight around and orders his men to capture the group immediately. Without hesitating, the squad charges at them. The professor tries to intervene, asking if he really has the guts to do this. But the director shuts him down and tells him to get out of the way, or else he's gonna catch a beating too. Trying to smooth things over, the tutor calls the director, Marshall brother, and reminds him that, at the end of the day, those kids are still students at the school. Hearing this, the MC is totally lost, wondering if these two are actually Marshall brothers. The director, unwilling to budge, says he doesn't want to hear it. The sentence is passed. Starting now, the three of them are expelled from school. The news drops like a bomb and leaves the trio in shock. The old geezer puffs out his chest and repeats it for everyone to hear, immediate expulsion. But Sue, hot-headed as always, gets pissed off at the decision and asks what right he thinks he has to do that. The old man fires back straight up. As far as I know, every school has a director. And guess who runs the show here? Me. The MC steps up to argue, saying expelling them before any investigation is overkill. They don't even know what really went down. The tutor takes the cue and agrees, saying Marshall brother can't just go around arresting and expelling people like that without proof. Plus, that Kudli brat over there has rank S talent. The director knows very well a genius like that is born once in a century. Couldn't care less about genius. The director pushes the tutor and says he doesn't want to hear it. Today the group is going down, my buddy, and that's final. The henchmen start moving in and the MC stands there, kind of lost, not knowing where to run. At this critical moment, a voice calls out the name, Feng Yu. By the way, the old man froze and got goosebumps all over. He recognized the owner of the voice instantly. The ones who are totally lost are the MC and the crew, who apparently have no clue who that figure is. Stepping out of the shadows, a third group of people enters the scene. The mysterious leader comments with an air of superiority that that's the summoner who soloed Nightmare difficulty. Not bad, she says. The MC scratches his head, not knowing if that was a compliment or a diss, and asks who the young lady is. Wykes calling her young lady was a rookie mistake. The girl screams, all stressed out, that her name is Njingwa, daughter of the Dupam royal family. The MC puts on a blank face and admits he's never heard of this so-called royal family. The director butts into the conversation, letting Miss N know that the criminals are already under control and he's taking them for interrogation. The little blonde shuts him down right there, saying none of that is needed and ordering him to release the trio immediately. Just then, another woman appears holding a teleportation scroll. The plan is to take everyone back inside the Black Abyss. The tutor panics when he sees the item. He warns that the dungeon is level 20, and since the students are level 10, going in there is a death wish. Little does he know the squad already went there and came back. Ignoring the drama, that girl calls the MC a pleb, with maximum arrogance. She orders the boy to join the royal family's exploration team right now. Basically, she wants to use the kid as a guide. The MC doesn't even bother looking her in the face and gives a dry no. He's not in the mood to be part of this mess. The girl goes ballistic. After all, getting a no wasn't in the script. She asks what this useless guy dared to say. The director tries to smooth things over, saying he doesn't want to spoil the princess's fun, but these students need to be punished. The little blonde crosses her arms and says, full of attitude, that she hates being interrupted when she's handling business. Look at the audacity, she's barely out of diapers and already acting like a boss. The white-haired assistant walks up to the director and asks if he didn't just expel the group. The old geezer stammers and says that, technically, until the paperwork goes through, they're still students. The woman stares him down and drops this. Oh, really? So are you implying you're gonna disobey a direct order from the royal family, or did I hear that wrong? At that moment, the director realizes that clashing with the royal family is basically asking to meet his maker, so he backs off since the damage would be too great. Li Shi runs to the MC and asks what the plan is, since the situation is getting more and more tense. The little blonde butts in and reminds them that, since the MC cleared nightmare mode, he became a celebrity and many eyes will be on him now. The MC turns his face, pondering the complicated situation he got himself into. It's like this, either he accepts the madam's invite or faces the director's goons. Running isn't an option because the path is literally blocked. To make matters worse, the girls are already being surrounded by the school guards too. Sue, loyal as always, warns she isn't staying behind no matter what and will stick with the MC on this journey, wherever it goes. Lin's reasoning is simple, if he stays, he goes to the slammer anyway. If he goes with the royal group, it's risky, but at least there's a chance to come back in one piece. The blonde princess stares at the MC and demands a final answer from the boy. The tutor, desperate, screams for him not to go, saying going back to the Black Abyss is a one-way ticket to meet the creator. The MC just lowers his head, ignoring his master's warning. The decision has already been made. No stalling, he accepts the invite and decides to follow the royal squad. Lai Shu doesn't stay behind and warns that wherever the captain goes, she goes too. Satisfied, the little princess lets out a laugh and says the choice was very wise. The white-haired woman stares at Director Feng and orders him to release the group immediately. Reluctantly, the director sighs and tells the guards to let the kids go. The tutor still tries to hold the director back, outraged, saying sending the students there is a death sentence and he can't allow it. The director finds the irony funny. A minute ago the tutor wanted to stop the expulsion. Now all that's left is to pray for their souls. The poor tutor stands there, devastated, believing he'll never see his pupils alive again. Just then, the new member introduces himself, Zhou Shen, captain of the royal family's swordsman guard. As for the mysterious platinum blonde who stayed quiet until now, that's Lucy, the head maid. And don't let that pretty face fool you, the woman has the strength to topple a building. With the team set, Princess Anne announces it's time to move out. The teleportation scroll is activated right away. In the blink of an eye, everyone vanishes from there. The catch is, instead of going straight to the abyss, they were teleported to the royal palace. They land in a luxurious hall, full of maids bowing down. The MC is stunned thinking, holy cow, talk about showing off. So this is that royal family life. Lai Shi whispers to Su that the vibe there is kinda weird. Su, suspicious as always, fires back. What around here isn't weird? Suddenly, their instincts prove right and things go south. In a quick move, a gun is pointed at Li Shu's head and a sword is pressed against Su's neck. And here we go again. To no one's surprise, the MC's group is surrounded. With a soap opera villain smirk, the princess comments on how rookies are easy to fool. She starts saying that Lucy can handle the rest. But the MC doesn't play games. Before she finishes the sentence, he had already summoned help and locked down the two attackers. The kid stares at Anne and asks what the joke is this time. The little blonde smiles impressed and asks if he had already figured out the plan. Lin just snaps his fingers full of swag. Hearing the command, the slime releases the royal guard hostages and casually goes back to her post on the MC's back. The boy explains he noticed Zhou Shun with his finger on the trigger and Lucy ready to strike the whole time. The princess praises his perception but asks why he didn't attack first. The MC, being sensible, says fighting in enemy territory would be stupid and hurt both sides. The blonde signals the guards to back off and admits the boy's level would crush theirs. It was a relief to know he isn't a lamb going to the slaughter. Lucy apologizes for the scare, explaining the young miss just wanted to test the trio's strength. A bit of an aggressive test, but necessary, according to her. The girls, of course, don't buy that story and stay on guard. Trying to smooth things over, the princess invites everyone for lunch, saying they prepared a banquet before the mission. The group accepts, but keeps their distance and walks behind. Better safe than sorry, right? Su whispers that this royalty stuff smells fishy and suggests they should fight and get the heck out of there. The MC explains that reaction was calculated. If he didn't show strength, the royals would treat them like disposable doormats. For now, the best thing is to go with the flow and see what these rich folks are plotting. Observing the paintings in the hallway, the MC asks from the back who those figures in the painting are. Captain Zhou Shen explains that painting tells the saga of the Dupont royal family. The princess adds that the dynasty was founded 1,000 years ago. And get this, the founder's profession was exactly that of a summoner. When the first anomaly happened in the Black Abyss, the royal family teamed up with the other three great families to seal the evil. The problem is they got their butts kicked and were defeated. Her great-great-grandfather's soul was destroyed, and with that, the connection between summoners and spirit stones was cut. That's when the myth that this class is useless started, but that was never true. It might seem like a lie, but our boy is the first rank summoner to appear in a millennium. But enough history class, right? Let's get to the good stuff, showtime. The girls, hearing this sketchy talk, stick close to the MC. One whispers that the royalty's goal is the boy, the other jumps straight to saying they're gonna use him as a human sacrifice. The MC steps back and gives it to them straight. They're reading too many fantasy novels. What's this talk about sacrifice, you crazy girl? But stopping the discussion and looking at the table, the kid's jaw drops at the feast. And not just him, the girls are drooling too. The dishes there aren't just fancy, they look delicious on an absurd level. Out of nowhere, the princess drops the bomb. There's a dungeon that appears every 100 years with clues for the final battle, and the MC is the key to opening it. Talk about irony. The kid who was called trash is now the main piece. Just what I needed. The butler Lucy tries to calm things down, guaranteeing they will provide support and no problems will happen. Oh, and of course, all the loot will be split evenly. Captain Zhou Shen also joins the chat, praising that the MC's team isn't weak and the quality of their gear is surprising. The MC, suspicious as always, narrows his eyes and asks, "And how do you guys know about the quality of our items?" The little blonde then reveals the secret, that glasses-wearing friend's hat is actually a lost sacred relic of the royal family. Lai Shi almost chokes in surprise, asking if her hat is really all that. The princess doesn't even bother answering. She just announces that, since everyone has stuffed their faces, it's time to set sail. With a snap of her fingers, the banquet table simply vanishes. And where there was food before, a giant magic circle now glows on the floor. The princess gives the green light for Lucy to start the work. The woman, with all her rigid posture, walks to the center of the circle. Captain Zhou turns to the group and asks if they are ready for the brawl, as if answering would change anything, right? Lucy already threw the scroll up and started activating the portal. But then, my friend, the woman turns into Arnold Schwarzenegger out of nowhere. She got jacked in a second, and matching the brute strength, the scroll also gets giant. Pause? I don't know, this story of a buff woman holding a giant thing got a little suspicious. What if Lucy is actually a Luke? But let's leave the theories aside and focus on what matters. The portal is radiating some sinister energy. The thing is so potent a blinding light takes over everything. Legends say for this portal to stabilize, you guys need to comment a lot asking for a continuation. As soon as the light dims, we see the dimensional portal has formed right in the middle of the hall. Lucy tells her partner to wait, but the captain couldn't care less and just walks in first. And Jinqua turns to the MC and asks if he's ready to face this. The MC makes a face like he sucked on a lemon, making it clear his trust in this scheme is zero. The little blonde notices the hesitation and asks if he still has cold feet about her team. Oh boy, she tells him to look around and get real. The situation is ugly, and he doesn't have much choice but to go with the flow. Lai Shu, nervous, turns to Sue and asks what they're gonna do. The girl freezes, not knowing what to answer under that pressure. But the MC takes the lead and makes the call. They're gonna leave and travel with that group. The decision catches both of them by surprise, leaving them wide-eyed. The kid explains the logic. Since the royal group is strong, it's worth sticking with them. And relax, he guarantees everything will work out. As long as he's breathing, he promises he won't let anything bad happen to them. Hearing a line like that leaves the two of them red as tomatoes. They got totally awkward with the kid's charm. Well, after a speech like that, you can't say no, right? The trio ends up entering the portal. The scene cuts to the guild hall. Golden lion, golden wolf, whatever. It's some golden animal. Someone runs in screaming, "Boss!" The bald guy warns, out of breath, that someone cleared the Ice Abyss dungeon. And worse, the nightmare mode boss was eliminated. Here the timeline gets a bit messy. Looks like something from the past. But if it's a scan bug, we just pretend we didn't see it and keep rolling. The crew stands up outraged, asking how the hell that is possible. A big brute yells that those bastards stole the reward in the drops. That was supposed to be their guild's exclusive property. Mu Hong stands up and tells everyone to shut their traps. He wants to know first, how did they do it? Second, what's this story about a fight outside the dungeon? His sister comments that the mission went down the drain because of Lin Tian. So, are they gonna let it slide, or are they gonna beat the living daylights out of the kid? Mu Hong stands there, processing the info with a face like thunder. But, while he racks his brain thinking, a sinister laugh starts echoing through the hall. Suddenly, a weird laugh starts echoing right in the middle of the guild hall. Looking closer, it's a masked dude wearing a top hat. I have no clue who this deep web joker is, but the guy is laughing his head off. Obviously, this clown show has the guild members with veins popping out of their foreheads in rage. At that moment, the masked guy pulls out a scroll and offers a shot at redemption, a secret dungeon called the Rift Abyss. Looks like this nutjob is their big boss, and the crew is paying the price for failing the last mission against the MC. Immediately, a chill runs down Mu Hong's spine. This dungeon ranges from level 10 to 50. It's no walk in the park. Going in at level 10 is asking to sweat where the sun don't shine. Smiling under the mask, Mr. Top Hat warns that several big guilds are gonna fight for the treasure, and he taunts them. Is the Golden Lion Guild gonna chicken out and sit on the sidelines? With that, the gang panics, knowing this dungeon is a total meat grinder. The problem is, who has the guts to say no to the crazy boss? Top Hat keeps roasting them, saying they're too weak anyway. But relax, cause he's got an ace up his sleeve to fix that. Basically, he asks, how about getting some extra juice to turn into absolute beasts? Right after, he starts unleashing some absurd dark energy. Clueless about what's happening, Mu Hong almost soils his pants in fear. The smell of terror is in the air, but let's pretend he kept his tough guy act together. Let's be real, you can understand his fear. The masked guy, who must be at an insane level, is flooding the room with pure pressure. This aura dominates the whole group, making the boys writhe in pain on the floor. At least the suffering has a purpose. Looks like it's a forced method to make everyone level up the hard way. That dark energy wasn't just torture, it invaded their bodies to give a violent buff to their stats. To test the new power, Mu Hong fires a blast of energy to the side. The result, he demolished a whole wall like it was cardboard. Leaving the villains aside, we go back to our MC. Arriving at this dungeon, the scenery is way different from the ice before. Now they're in a rocky and arid desert. Looking around, the MC wonders where the heck they ended up, since the plan was to go back to the ice abyss. However, right in front of them is a colossal rift and two gigantic statues. No mistake, that right there is the famous Rift Abyss. They're at the edge of a canyon so deep that, if you fall, you'll end up in China. The stuck-up little blonde shows up all full of herself, saying she knew our boy was smart. According to her, looks like the legend about him is true. The MC, totally lost in the conversation, asks what this legend talk is all about. Hopping up and sitting on a rock, the girl says she'll explain later, cause the focus is somewhere else now. At that moment, she whips out some kind of glowing card. Without ceremony, she tosses the item towards the MC. As soon as he grabs the object, the system reveals it's the Dark Legion summoning card, a legendary item capable of summoning 3 fighters. Holding the gift, the MC is in disbelief, like it's a super valuable legendary item. She's just gonna hand it over on a silver platter, and Jinghua explains that no one on her side can use that card, so it's better if he keeps it to strengthen the group. The MC analyzes the item and thinks hard about the situation. In the end, there's no reason to say no. Decided, he resolves to use the item right there. As soon as he rips the card to activate the effect, a dense smoke starts rising from the ground. And my friend, out come 3 zombie summons that are a true work of art. The MC's reaction was the same as mine. The kid almost falls backward in shock. Man, not for nothing, but with 3 of those I'd be set for life. I think I used up all my luck just seeing this scene. My dude, no one would ever get me out of the house again. The MC agreed with that thought so much his legs turned to jelly and he hit the floor, trying to compose himself and wipe the drool. The kid admits the item lives up to the legendary title. For real, there are a lot of attributes involved there, if you catch my drift. And to test the boy's heart, the warriors come right up pressing their talents against the MC and calling him master. Who isn't digging this scene at all is Joe Shun. Jealousy hit hard, huh? The MC is already building a harem like 7 girls counting the summons. But, embarrassed, Lin asks them to cut it out with this. Master, talk. Suddenly, the romance vibe dies when several spikes fly in the MC's direction. Luckily, Joe Shun reacts in time and manages to block the attack. The girls are totally confused about what just happened. Lucy, who doesn't play around on the job, immediately enters combat stance. Looking at the horizon, they spot a gigantic column of smoke rising to the skies. Brother Joe cuts to the chase. Those things over there are level 30 demon hedgehogs. Lai Shu gets outraged instantly. What do you mean the mobs at the entrance are already level 30? Wasn't it supposed to start easy at level 10? Joe denies it and tells her to hold her horses because the fun has just begun. With that vibe, the hedgehogs charge at the group fast as missiles. Lucy warns that standing still there is asking to be turned into Swiss cheese. And wasting no time, she already whips out her pistol. But why waste ammo when she can simply punt the creature? With a powerful kick, the hedgehog is sent flying. And honestly, the underside of its belly looks pretty weird. But since that's the weak spot, Lucy preps her rusty hand cannon and lands a clean shot right in the monster's gut. Too bad when it rains, it pours, right? There's already another one coming at Joe. The swordsman reacts instantly and delivers a horizontal slash. But it looks like the strike hit nothing but air, since the beast started burrowing underground. But our boy isn't gonna just be a spectator. He orders one of the zombie warriors to advance. She jumps toward the creature yelling, "Hey, ugly! Hope you're wearing a helmet, cause it's hammer time!" My friend, with that landing in her pose, the MC is actually impressed. Oh, what a vision of paradise. You don't see good stuff like this every day, so you gotta enjoy it. However, 2 porcupines decide to charge at Jinghua. The girl is small, but she's no pushover, right? She starts activating her power, and simply raises a barrier that the beasts can't penetrate for the life of them. Watching the scene, the MC starts wondering, is that some kind of shield? Is the girl a defense class like a tank? I take back what I said. With that hand movement there, she's nothing like a tank. The girl simply made the monster explode from the inside out. Stepping down from the rock, she doesn't explain the trick, but she definitely turned that beast into dust. Noticing the MC's curious face, she reveals she's a superior spirit master. The boy gets a bit lost, wondering if she reads minds too. But looking to the side, he notices Lai Shu is kind of fading into the background. The boy was gonna go help, but Lucy cuts him off. She says she knows he's full of questions, but things are heating up, my friend. The brawl has started, and it's better to save the small talk for later. The MC gets a bit annoyed, not really understanding where she's going with this. But then he looks ahead and understands the size of the trouble. On the horizon, something gigantic is appearing, and mind you, it's still far as heck. Yeah, my dude, the game just got serious. We have a giant demon boar in the area. To be more exact, this is the elite violent boar king. Level 32, but turbocharged with 5,000 health, 100 mana, and an absurd 220 attack and defense. The girls freeze instantly. Like, level 30 is one thing, but elite is a whole other conversation. To tank a beast like this, you gotta be at least 5 levels higher. Translation, level 35 minimum. Is there still time to turn around and go home pretending nothing happened? Well, Brother Joe is the first to react and charges at the creature without fear. He even manages to slow the monster down, but his blade basically just tickles it. Lucy comes from above and unloads the clip in the beast's direction, but its fur is like steel spikes, too thick to be penetrated. Seeing things get ugly, and Jinghua starts summoning her power. She sends a concentrated fireball right at the boar. The explosion was pretty and looked like enough to cause some damage. But no way. Let's say it took about 3% of the monster's health, if that. Sue comments that, at this snail's pace, it's gonna take at least 2 hours to take this beast down. The MC stands there thinking, wondering how a tough nut like this wasn't defeated even by the royal family's elite. Besides, looking at the swordsman's hand, you can see the guy is shaking like a leaf. Joe is already panting and comments that his sword can't cut the monster's defense. The beast is a tank, and Jinghua turns to the MC and gives it to him straight. He already saw that normal attacks don't work. That's what she called him for. This was always the goal, since the wretched thing is immortal to them. To defeat a monster with this absurd defense, there's only one way: break the armor by force. As much as Joe and Lucy try, their weapons just bounce off. They don't even come close to cracking the monster's shell. The MC finally gets the strategy. The Shadow Legion can infiltrate anywhere, so theoretically, only they can penetrate the boar's armor and attack from the inside. And Jinghua confirms that's exactly it. That's why, out of everyone there, only he has the clout to defeat the monster. The funny thing is, she was the one who gave him the card. I just don't get why she didn't use it herself. himself, but anyway. The hit is heavy and they end up getting thrown back. Lucy and the swordsman warn they can't hold the line for much longer. But that's when our dear little blonde explains that manipulating the Shadow Legion requires insane mental power. Even her grandpa used to break a cold sweat trying to do it. But our MC, who is just too much of a beast, says he already figured out the gimmick. He starts charging in full force, telling his friends to stay in cover. Sue agrees and starts the transformation right away, activating her special skill. But first, the MC dashes to the front. He goes straight for the giant's legs to draw some aggro. However, that was just a distraction for one of the shadows to come from above. She delivers a massive smack to the creature's belly, knocking the monster to the ground. The princess is in disbelief, thinking that's impossible. How did that rascal learn to buff the shadow weapons all by himself? Taking advantage of the boar opening its big trap to scream in pain, one of the warriors dives straight down its throat. Thinking he's got the upper hand, the demon shuts his mouth instantly. But then he finds out things are way deeper than that. An absurd pain starts exploding from inside his body. The royal group is totally jaw-dropped. The beast went down in a flash, like bam pow, one hit and lights out. Job done. The three shadow warriors kneel before the MC. The boy comments he didn't expect them to be so OP. Jo Shen comments to Lucy that something is very wrong there. Unless the kid trained for 100 years, it should be impossible to handle the Legion with such mastery. Lucy thinks the MC must have been bluffing. Didn't anyone tell him the Shadow Legion is originally for scouting? Probably because no one had enough power to use it for attacking. And Jinghua interrupts, explaining the Legion's skill ignores any terrain. But until today, no one had learned to use it in combat. Actually, there's more to the story. One of the shadows pulls up some kind of holographic map. That's what she was talking about. The MC then turns to Jinghua and teases, "What did you say before? That this was hard to use. This was the so-called impossible skill." And Jinghua is speechless, saying that should technically be impossible. The MC doesn't care much about her reaction. He focuses on the map and notices only 1/3 has been revealed. But where did the rest go? Suddenly, the story explains that the rift only opens every 500 years. Because it's so hard, they never managed to map everything. And Jinghua comments that since his Shadow Legion is still low level, the detection radius is only 3,000 meters. But he should be thankful, because that's already the longest range achieved in the last 100 years. Seeing this craziness, the two girls wonder if this is some kind of prophecy coming true. Gotta admit, the situation is pretty weird. Changing the subject, the girl asks what the current level of the summoning grimoire he's using is. The MC scratches his head and asks, "What the hell is a summoning grimoire?" Lucy steps in, saying he should have received one when he registered at the Summoners Association. It's the basic starter book. Doesn't he have one? Pulling out the beat-up little book he had, the MC says he knows nothing about any association, but he has this one a school monitor gave him. Does it work? Jo gets outraged. What do you mean the MC cleared the abyss and the rift using that piece of junk? The kid must be a legendary genius, because that book is trash. Pulling out a grimoire 10 times better, and Jinghua says she has a spare one and tells him to keep the gift. The MC takes the book and says thanks, but drops the question. Cool, but how do I use this? Our dear little princess says it's simple. Just inject mana into the treasure grimoire to activate it. Basically, just fill up the tank with magic. While pouring mana into it, the boy notices a weird gem on the book's cover. The weird thing is the color changed to bright red. Could it be his mana's fault? Well, I don't know the exact reason, but the little blonde's jaw hit the floor. She says she can't believe what she's seeing. Out of nowhere everyone knelt down. The folks are suddenly swearing eternal loyalty to the MC. Lin stands there, mouth open, totally clueless. What do you mean, guys? Get up from there. The little book, which was in his hand before, is now floating and glowing intensely. The two friends, watching from afar, are also surprised. I don't know if it's because of the book, or because they also don't get the scene of the royals kneeling. The book keeps rising on its own, higher and higher, rising and shining brighter. Now even the MC questions if that's a normal book. The boy starts doubting himself. Dan, am I really that badass? Suddenly, projections of creatures materialize in the air. A carnivorous plant, a stone golem, a water monster, and a bizarre spider. With the book finally coming down, the MC understands the item records all info about summons, whether they are his or not. The grimoire starts flipping pages on its own until it stops on a specific page. Basically, it shows everything about the demonic slime, level stats, and special skill. Okay, we already have the system for that, but visually it's prettier, right? At least the MC realizes the complete spec sheet of the slime is right there. Turning to the next page, the unicorn's info appears, detailing all the beast's powers and skills too. Sue walks up trying to get the MC's attention, but the kid is totally spacing out, thinking the book records data on all summons. But wait, is it just his summons or everything? And what about that ice golem, the spider, and the carnivorous plant that shout up? Where did they come from? Regardless, the MC is impressed. To him, that thing is basically an ultimate strategy guide, with every monster's full bio right in the palm of his hand. Just then, and Jinghua asks the great summoner if he's alright. The MC plays it cool and says it's all good, everything's under control. The only thing he wants is for the folks to stop kneeling and explain what kind of sorcery is going on with that book. And Jinghua admits that, for real, even she doesn't really know how to use the item. She just knows the book was left by an ancient sage, like way back in the day. After the great battle, records on the summoner class went up in smoke. That was one of the reasons the profession went down the toilet. And because of that, the book was just floating around for about 500 years, until her grandfather found it and kept the treasure under lock and key. The old geezer dedicated his whole life to researching the book, until he finally managed to make the gem on the cover emit a glow. Let's say a pretty pathetic one. Lucy steps in to defend the deceased, saying that, despite the weak glow, the guy became the strongest on the continent just by understanding a tiny piece of the book. But then comes the MC and, without even trying, activates the thing at full power. Explaining a bit of the history, Enjingwa says it was thanks to that last king's effort, the Dupan family got some street cred back. Before kicking the bucket, the old king scoured the world looking for a skilled summoner to pass on the knowledge, but unfortunately, he only found scrubs. After the king pressed F, neighboring kingdoms took the chance to have a field day and try to take over everything. Meanwhile, Enjingwa was left alone, mourning her grandfather's death. Lucy adds that that's why they went after him, to see if he could be their savior in this time of crisis. Enjingwa looks the MC in the eyes and promises that if the great summoner helps out, the Dupan family will give full support and follow him to hell if needed. The MC turns around and calls them out. Come here, weren't you guys testing me just a minute ago? You put on that whole circus act, and now you come asking for help with such audacity. The little blonde gulps, apologizes, and admits she was out of line. She says the MC is right and, if he wants, he can punish her however he sees fit. Lucy also asks for forgiveness and tries to justify it. They spent years looking for an heir, but only talentless people or scammers showed up. The royal family blew a fortune on this and got nothing. They couldn't risk trusting blindly again, you know. And Jingwa gets annoyed with Lucy's yapping and tells her to zip it right now. With that cheeky grin, the MC teases, aren't you afraid that I might be an imposter too? And Jingwa replies firmly that no, that's impossible. He was the only one in centuries who made the gem actually glow. Her grandfather's prophecy was clear. Whoever made the book recognized them as master would be the new king of the Dupont family. Sue butts in and asks why they didn't try using the book on someone before, since the situation was so critical. Zhou Shen explains that they did try, but most candidates already had a contract with another grimoire or were too weak to handle the heat. And once a contract is made, the summoner can't make another pact unless they advance to the next level. Those are the rules of the game. Lucy comments that once they tried to force a contract, but the only thing they accomplished was getting the book pissed off. And believe me, an angry book is not good business. And Jingwa notes that since the MC never registered with the Summoners Association, he was clean to make the contract directly. The MC frowns and asks, are you telling me it was beginner's luck? Trying not to dig her own grave, she says it's not exactly that. But she warns that if someone without a contract tries and isn't recognized by the book, the person explodes and is toast instantly. Simple as that. The MC turns pale as a sheet. He asks, stuttering, so if this piece of junk hadn't accepted me, I would have turned into barbecue. Realizing the mess they made by omitting that detail, the whole group kneels again asking for punishment. The MC, already tired of this soap opera, takes a deep breath and tells everyone to get up. He says he won't hold a grudge over this craziness. The group obeys quickly, but Njingwa's curiosity gets the better of her, and she asks what's written in the book. The MC looks thoughtful. He remembers he now has a telepathic subordinate and decides to test the girl's loyalty. With a look like he's up to no good, he says, since you're so curious, why don't you use your skill to read my mind? For real, he just wants to see if the girl can handle the pressure. But she denies it instantly, saying she wouldn't dare snoop inside the master's head even if she were dead. Respect above all, right? The MC gets close and demands that loyalty. This is an order. I want you to read my mind right now. With no way out, Little ends up agreeing. As soon as she tries to invade the boy's mind, the girl almost has a seizure. She loses her balance instantly and falls on her butt in shock. Lucy runs desperately to help her boss, screaming for her. Turns out, while peeking into his mind, she saw a form, let's say not very friendly, of the boy. The butler tries to help the princess up, since her legs turn to jelly. Still trembling, she looks back at the MC, terrified. The MC, innocently, asks what she saw in the mess inside his head. Stuttering, the girl says she saw a red demon descending upon the world. Literally, the devil himself. The thing was scary on a nightmare level. The MC laughs and tells her to stop exaggerating. What kind of twisted talk is that? He asked her to read his mind, not to write horror fanfic. The girl kneels again, swearing she's not lying. She guarantees she saw Satan in the flesh on his back. The MC points to Lil Slime and asks if she's calling the cutie a demon. The creature only knows how to be needy and ask for cuddles. Come on! The girl insists, remembering her grandfather prophesied that a red demon would bring an era of blood. She starts questioning if the family's destiny is to serve the devil himself. The MC ignores the drama, pulls out the glowing cube, and thinks the girl must have hit her head and is losing her marbles early. But anyway, he comments that with all this confusion, he almost forgot to collect the elite monster's soul, while the boar's soul is getting absorbed, and Jinkwa's jaw hits the floor. Looks like it's the first time she's seeing someone snag a monster's soul in person. Holding the cube, the MC does the math. That makes 2 elite monsters in his inventory now. He analyzes the situation and realizes that, theoretically, he confused the monster souls with one of his summons. Watching the scene, the girl looks kinda bummed out, and the MC notices her excitement has cooled off a bit. But nope. Suddenly, she runs up and throws herself onto him in a tight hug. The problem is that this hug was, let's say, a little too snug. The MC turns beet red, feeling the pressure of her assets. The girl swears up and down that no matter what the Grand Master needs, she, and Jingwa, is ready to face any trouble right by his side. Our dear Sue isn't digging this intimacy one bit and tells the girl to back off. Who does she think she is, rubbing up against the MC like that? And Jingwa, Manhwa, clinging like a barnacle, tells the blonde to shut her trap. She says a pleb has no say here because the Grandmaster is her property now. And check the audacity, calling Sue a pleb when the girl is filthy rich. Sue can't even believe her ears. A pleb, her, the one with the fattest bank account in town. The MC decides to put an end to this soap opera and breaks up the catfight. He reminds them they're still in the middle of a dangerous dungeon, just in case they forgot that tiny detail. Coming back to her senses, the girl agrees and promises to stop immediately. But the MC watches this and can only think, my god, what did I get myself into? Taking advantage of the break, he goes back to the burning question. Why on earth did they call him to this specific dungeon? When the girl opens her mouth to spill the beans, she freezes because something catches her eye. Out of nowhere, an arrow comes whizzing right at them. The royal family folks go on high alert, but it looks like their reflexes aren't going to be fast enough to stop the projectile. However, surprising everyone, something comes out of the MC's cube and instantly creates a protective barrier around them. The MC stares at the cube, not understanding a single thing about what just happened, but he saves the questions for later. Now, the priority is finding out who the wise guy trying to kill them is. He yells out asking who's there. In response, a mocking laugh starts echoing from deep within the canyon. At first, the MC can't identify it, but he squints to try and recognize the figure. And then an archer strikes a badass pose on the horizon. Looks like the gang recognized her. It's Song Shaolin. What nobody gets is what that wretched girl is doing lost out here. Song isn't really in the mood to explain herself. The only thing she says is that it was a huge hassle finding this Lintine guy. According to her, she came to check out the rumor that he beat down a secret boss firsthand. But in her head, that was pure beginner's luck. So she decides to test him and fires another arrow. I thought she was aiming at the MC, but she actually shot it into the sky, like a signal flare. The archer leaves a message. If they came looking for the Abyss jewel, they wasted their time, cause that treasure is already spoken for. The MC turns to Njinko and asks what the deal is with this Abyss jewel. The girl says she'll explain the plot later, cause right now the focus is the enemy. They need to take that wretched girl down, and she's a tough cookie. Since things heated up, Lucy decides to go hard and pulls out some heavy weaponry. I just want to know where she keeps something that size. And just to show off, she doesn't pull out just one, but 2 Gatling guns. This just went to the next level, my friend. What matters is that the little gun works and she starts unloading heavy lead without mercy. Meanwhile, the MC stays in the back, just admiring the butler going full Rambo. The problem is that Song Shaolin, seeing the hail of bullets, just laughs mockingly and doesn't move a muscle. The bullets simply hit her and ricochet like she's Iron Man. The damage dealt is absolute 0. The MC is stunned. What do you mean heavy machine gun ammo doesn't even tickle her? Looking closely, you can see the reason. She seems to have some kind of shield or magic barrier protecting her body. Lucy gets frustrated too. Man, it's a huge hassle to carry and hide those machine guns. Then when it's crunch time, they're useless. Would have been easier to leave them at home. The little archer starts laughing like a hyena, finding the situation hilarious and mocking their effort. At least she does the kindness of explaining that bracelet she's wearing is a platinum item that makes her immune to any attack below level 50. The MC notices that even though it's Song Shaolin, she's much stronger and different from the last time they met. Continuing the little show, the girl warns that now they're gonna feel the real drama. She activates her skill, Shadow Storm. As soon as she shoots, the arrow flies high into the sky. The problem is on the way down. The single arrow multiplies by 50, creating a deadly rain. Lucy tries to react fast and creates a barrier around herself, but the attack is too strong and the arrows start piercing the defense. And then there was no way around it. She ended up getting hit. Lucky for them, Brother Joe wasn't just watching. He ran over and started slicing all the arrows coming their way. The rest of the crew rushes over to help and check on the butler's condition. Totally banged up, the girl warns that those arrows are out of this world. If she wasn't a holy knight, that damage would have been fatal. The MC keeps wondering how the enemy got so strong. She dropped Lucy, who is level 30, with scary ease. The little archer gives it to them straight. They better give up. She promises to spare the gang's lives as long as they hand over Lin Tian on a silver platter. But that hurts our swordsman's pride. Annoyed by the woman's attitude, he warns he's gonna settle this with a single strike. Wasting no time, he launches his armor-destroying crossblade. But the crazy chick just laughs in the face of danger and announces she's gonna use the space-opening arrow. And just like that, she lets the shot fly. Once again, several arrows start materializing in the air. When they collide with Joe Slash, the attack actually gets blocked. The problem is a sneaky arrow comes right behind it and hits the impact point again. Then, my dude, the slash shatters and the projectile goes straight for Joe's mug. Luckily, the kid has cat-like reflexes and manages to block the impact at the last second. But the hit was so violent his hand starts shaking like a leaf. Actually, correction, not just his hand, his whole body felt that shock. The archer finds the situation funny, making it clear that, for her, level 30 nowadays is just an appetizer. The MC notices the girl's class changed. I don't even recognize who this crazy chick is anymore. He asks Ingenua if you can switch classes like that, but the princess says that's crazy talk. At that moment, the little blonde screams asking if the enemy made a pact with the Lord of the Black Abyss. Look, making a deal with the devil never ends well. We know that. Sue comments she's heard legends about this. They say the pact really allows you to change classes, but the price is steep, selling your soul to the boogeyman. The archer fires back that it doesn't matter how much they know or don't know. The result is going to be the same. She's sending everyone to the afterlife right now. Activating the skill one more time, she fires a rain of arrows. However, this time the attack is intercepted by the three shadows, forming an impenetrable barrier. And Jinghua also decides to step up and questions the enemy's audacity. "She's in the house, baby. Did you forget the leading lady?" Realizing the princess is charging a powerful spell, the archer decides she's gonna have to play dirty. She draws 4 more special arrows from her quiver. The only problem is this move takes a heavy toll on the body, so she has limited ammo. It's like the ultimate in a fighting game. Finally, she unleashes the attack. Furious shot. An overwhelming blast of energy flies toward the princess and the MC. But now our little blonde is going beast mode and decides to tank it all. She not only blocks the attack, but she also pays it back in kind. With this turnaround, Song Shaolin's psycho smirk disappears real quick. Desperate, she throws herself to the ground and activates her defensive barrier to withstand the impact. The girl rises from the dust, realizing she survived, even though her armor is all cracked. Full of attitude, the princess warns she better not even dream of touching the MC, cause she doesn't have the clout for that. The archer gets ticked off by the taunt and makes a drastic decision. She's gonna focus straight on Lin Tian. In a move too fast for the naked eye, she teleports and pops up right behind the boy. And Jinghua freezes, because she didn't see that coming. The worst part is the crazy chick already has her blade ready to put a new hole in the MC. However, our little magic cube starts glowing intensely. And out comes one of the shadows, Sledgehammer already prepped for the kill. Staring death in the face, the girl must have thought, is there time to say sorry? But nope, didn't even have time to blink. She turned into a pancake. When the dust settles and the shadow lifts the hammer, we see there isn't even any DNA left of the girl. Lucy and Lai Shu are speechless, trying to process what went down, since it all happened in the blink of an eye. While our 4IS heals Lucy, the butler asks what kind of sorcery that was. But while they try to understand, the mood shifts to romance. Littleton runs to hug the MC out of nowhere. With this, he turns red as a beet and gets totally nervous. But the reason for the nerves is that, from this angle, he's looking straight at down we go. Yeah, MC, I totally get you. In your shoes, I'd be cross-eyed too. And Jinghua comments it's exactly what she thought. This summoner is built different. He claps anyone in a fight, whether they're strong, weak, or high level. The boy thanks her for the compliment, but thinks it's funny that the so-called royal heiress didn't even use a basic attack to help out. The girl retorts saying he knows nothing actually. She just wanted to field test his potential. The MC makes that cool story bro face but buys the excuse. Getting back to business, the boy asks how long this wet-haired bubblegum is gonna stay glued to him like that. The girl pulls away, kinda embarrassed. Meanwhile, the MC can only think about how useful the cube is and how efficient the shadow souls were. Yeah, MC, you're a genius in battle and hopeless at romance. The girl is hugging you and you're thinking about a Rubik's Cube. Oh, you clueless kid. Still focused on the item, the boy notices a detail. What does that time on the screen mean? The timer shows 6 hours and 56 minutes. It clicks, that right there is the skill's cooldown time. Looks like the soul he just used will only be available again in almost 7 hours. The kid reflects that for something this OP, having a long cooldown is actually fair so it doesn't break the game. Grinning ear to ear, he imagines if the common shadow already did this much damage, the Boar King's soul must be ridiculously strong. But Njingwa kills the boy's vibe. She warns him they need to run, otherwise other teams will grab the items before them. While they're at it, the MC asks the girl what she meant by that story about the archer's second-class change. Seeing the two forms the enemy took, the boy knows someone's power doesn't just change like night and day out of nowhere. And Jinghua agrees it shouldn't, but takes the chance to chew out the guards, getting beat up by someone weak. Like that is an embarrassment to her family. She tells everyone to stop stalling and pick up the pace before she gets more stressed. As for the MC's question, she promises to explain on the way. Lucy and Brojo just stand there, looking foolish and pretty sad. Failing in front of the boss lady must be a hard blow to the ego. But screw their sadness, let's keep moving. No, I lied. We're not gonna keep moving. Actually, the scene cuts abruptly to a place full of snow. Our blondie bro, Mu Hong, is there with his squad, staring intently at the ground. He observes a magic circle radiating a heavy energy. For some reason, the henchmen, upon seeing the circle, lower their heads with that look of total defeat. Mu Hong, who has now adopted the IG look with red eyes, also seems disappointed while staring at the ritual. Suddenly, he raises his hand and starts doing that good old dark sorcery. Even his crew gets surprised by what happens next. From the center of the ritual circle, a girl's body starts to materialize. Blondie looks with a face like he's thinking, yeah, I guess the spell actually worked. We finally recognize the figure. It's Shishu, his supposed sister. The one who holds a massive grudge against our MC. Looks like a bad penny always turns up, and she has awakened. She wakes up kinda dazed, with nothing and in a vulnerable position, stuttering to Captain Mu Hong that she didn't expect to be brought back like this. But he doesn't want to hear any chit-chat. The guy was already a pain in the neck before, now he's worse. He questions her usefulness. If she couldn't get the job done, what is she good for anyway? And the scumbag says this while using magic to choke his own sister. Mu Hong Muhong warns that if it weren't for the contract with the Abyss Lord, he would have left her in the eternal sleep forever. But alright, this is gonna be the last chance. No screw-ups this time, or she becomes Monster Cho. And that's when, out of nowhere, he pulls out a voodoo doll. I told you it was some dark mojo. If it's not voodoo, it's heavy witchcraft. But since they're siblings, being in sync with evil must run in the family. The crazy girl, shaking with fear, thanks Muhong for the opportunity. He warns Shishu that she's arriving at the cemetery, so she better not drop the ball. She agrees and kneels as a sign of submission and respect. But inside, she's boiling with rage, and the target of that rage is our MC. In her head, all this misery is his fault. Getting back to our main group, the MC comments that it's really weird to find vegetation in a dead place like that. Li Shu, unlike him, recognizes the plant instantly and gets all excited. She says that's a xylene herb, a medicinal plant that costs an arm and a leg, and Jinghua confirms, for Ai's info. She says the thing is worth at least 100 gold coins, but in that context, it only serves to keep someone barely alive. The MC is totally lost with this, keeping alive, talk, so he asks her to spell it out for him. The girl sits down and reveals that right there is the secret dungeon, the final objective of the mission. She tells the legend that the cemetery master fought against the Black Abyss there, but something went terribly wrong. Our boy asks what went down during the fight, and the girl says he'd better see it with his own eyes. If he looks closely, those herbs are contaminated by demonic energy, which is why they're worthless and dangerous. Li Shu, who was already looting the place and stuffing her pockets, stops immediately and asks, "Wait, what do you mean worthless? I had already farmed like a grand here." Dropping the mushrooms and herbs immediately, the girl realizes, scared, that her hand is starting to turn purple. Lucy steps up, hands Li Shu a cloth to wipe her hand, and keeps it real. Let's bounce before things get ugly. Scared of turning into zombies or something worse, the group picks up the pace and moves on, avoiding touching literally anything. A while later, they end up wandering into a creepy cave. And guess what? The place is crawling with those toxic mushrooms too. As soon as they reach the valley, and Jinghua brings up the old beef between the abyss and the cliff again, she reveals that the secret to the second class change is right there, the price you pay for facing the abyss. She points to a freaky scene, a woman tied to a tree, trapped by pure dark magic. Even our dear Sue, who isn't easily impressed, has her jaw on the floor seeing that. And Jinghua explains the deal: the class change happens because the Abyss Lord sucks the person's energy. Pause. Anyway, her so-called original team got wiped out in this mess. Basically, they turned into fertilizer for the Lord, which caused this hideous mutation. That scumbag stole her group's power to distribute it to others, like a dark Robin Hood, giving out this so-called second chance. But people forget the fine print in the contract: to change your class, your soul gets stolen, and you become a hostage to the devil. The MC stares at Jinghua and asks the million-dollar question: if she knew about this scam, why did she bring him here? Without saying much, the girl grabs the MC's arm, and she reaches his hand out toward the woman trapped in the tree. And Jinghua says the goal is obvious: stop this madness. The MC is skeptical, not understanding how he, a mere mortal, is going to be able to help with this. And Jinghua explains that only a summoner can drain the residual power from the original members, stalling the villain's plan. From what I get, these original members are ancient legends, super powerful folks. And the crazy part is that little Angel was right the whole time. As soon as the MC's hand touches the woman, the dark power starts getting sucked into him. After the dark magic left, a sudden flash of light took over everything. That light ends up condensing into an emblem called Vow of the Holy Light. Holding the item, the MC asks what the heck this holy light business is. Lucy steps up and introduces the woman in the tree. She is Ling Xingzhu, humanity's first holy cleric. Didn't I tell you? I knew these so-called original members were top-tier big shots. The problem is, I thought the MC had cleared away the dark magic, but actually no. He just pulled out the last bit of power left in the girl. And Jinghua tells the MC that with his rank talent, they'll settle this nonsense in a snap. She didn't expect the result to be a protective amulet, but it'll do. Then, something weird happens. The woman trapped in the tree starts stuttering, demanding they give back what's hers. Of course, this grabs the whole group's attention. After all, nobody expected Sleeping Beauty to wake up. And to make matters worse, she didn't wake up in a good mood. The cleric woke up choosing violence. The MC yells to everyone, "We're in trouble. Let's book it, guys. Get out of here as fast as you can, cause things just went south." And things really went south because the plants that were normal before have now turned into thirsty carnivores. Immediately, everyone gets into combat stance so they don't end up as fertilizer. That demonic aura surrounding the woman changed. Now she's wrapped in a sinister green aura. I don't know if she's pissed off or in pain, but it ain't good. And Jinghua realizes the situation went from bad to nightmare in seconds. Even trapped in the tree, the woman starts charging up an insane amount of green magic. She gathers enough power to blow everything up. With no mercy, she fires the blast straight at the MC and Jinghua. And Jinghua tried to put up a barrier, but it couldn't handle the impact of that hit. Result, the two of them went flying and took the full force of the blow. And it wasn't a love tap either, it was a massive hit, one of those that forcer starts your windows. Even though she's all banged up, our blondie calls the woman every name in the book. The MC calls out for Jinghua, asking what happened and if she's still alive. But the girl grabs his hands and tells him to quit stalling. She demands he pass over the spiritual power he just grabbed. The MC feels awkward and asks, and how exactly do we do this transfer? The girl looks at him in disbelief. Are you actually this slow or just playing dumb? Hurry up, hand it over. Don't you know what a mana refill is? Seeing he's got no game, She makes the move herself, while the MC is still standing there asking what the hell a mana refill is. But to spare us the sordid details, the camera cuts back to the rest of the group. Brojo is the first to prep for the attack, already drawing his sword. He does this to protect Jinghua and the MC, who are having a, let's say, complicated moment. The swordsman throws himself in front to try and stop that giant energy sphere. He uses his slash skill with full force, but as expected, it didn't go so great. He tries to slice it, but the blade won't go through. The only thing he manages to do is hold back the energy ball through sheer grit. Brojo tries to yell desperately for Jinghua, warning the young miss that he can't hold back that nuke for much longer. The MC, confused, asks what she intends to do, but the girl replies hurriedly that there's no time for explanations. And without skipping a beat, she plants a huge kiss on the boy, leaving him looking totally stunned, like, man, is this how you transfer mana? Where do I sign to get this every day? See what I mean? At first he thought it was weird, but now he's into it. Who turns down a free smooch from royalty? The only problem is the kid gets so nervous he starts getting a nosebleed right in the middle of the kiss. What a gross and romantic scene at the same time. But despite the ick factor, the power transfer is completing successfully. Lai Shu, seeing the scene, blushes hard and pokes her friend. Look at that, Su! What are they doing with your man? As soon as the tank fills up, Jinghua pushes the MC away to kill the mood. Yeah, you can tell this is new for her. The girl isn't used to all this contact and gets super flustered. But the shyness fades fast. She stands up overflowing with power, looking like she just chugged a god-tier energy drink. Just by lifting her pinky, she starts injecting the new magic into the enemy's energy sphere. And with insane control, she deflects the attack and throws the bomb in another direction. The group is jaw-dropped, realizing the blonde girl really managed to drain all the boys' spiritual power. I said spiritual power, okay? Get your minds out of the gutter in the comments. The woman clinging to the tree doesn't give up. Instead of accepting defeat and taking a nap, that miserable wretch decides to attack again. And Jinghua declares that in the new era there's no space for people like her, and tells the woman to get lost. From what I understand, this first cleric wanted to get stronger and sold her soul to the devil, meaning she isn't the victim here, just someone who bet big on greed and fell flat on her face. But enough talk, and Jinghua says it's way past time for her to go meet her maker. She starts concentrating all her power around the corrupted cleric, but realizing basic magic isn't cutting it, she decides to crank the intensity up to the max. Now we're talking. The cleric starts screaming in pain, realizing her ticket to the afterlife just got stamped. Looking back, Jinghua comments, impressed, that she didn't imagine the MC's power was so absurd, allowing her to wreak this kind of havoc. But that's when Lucy catches her attention, yelling for the young miss to look fast. Leaves start falling and the plants around them are withering. I mean, they aren't just dying, they seem to be getting absorbed by the cleric. This makes Jinghua absolutely livid. That woman should have accepted her fate and kicked the bucket already, but the wretch is stubborn and won't quit. Actually, it looks like her power is increasing. And Jinghua starts breaking into a cold sweat when she realizes the absurd amount of energy being accumulated. Suddenly, the wretch cleric releases a magic explosion in all directions. The shockwave hits Jinghua full force, tearing part of her clothes. The MC, seeing his colleague is in danger, yells for Slime and orders her to rescue the girl. Slime obeys instantly and manages to catch Jinghua in the air before she falls. The two land safely next to the MC. Our little blonde, stubborn as a mule, says it's not over yet and she can take the heat to keep fighting. The MC shuts her down, saying she already helped enough. Now it's his turn to return the favor and he won't let her risk herself again. But to see the MC really throwing down, you guys are gonna have to comment a lot asking for more and smash that like button.